All right. We're starting right now. All right. Hello, humans. We decided to do a live stream tonight because, well, I was bored. No, I'm not really bored. I took a nap after work. He said it to PM him. I was like, oh my God, it's 7 o'clock. I gotta wake up. So I woke up. I got something to eat. I got dressed a little bit. And then I was like, okay, time to start streaming. As you guys know, on my main channel, I stream every Tuesday and Wednesday if you guys are interested. There's been a lot of support recently. So, yeah, thank you all for the support. People have been donating, too. It's been really nice that a lot of the harder work has been paying off. And you're supposed to go by your actual name on the channel. He went by Buff Studman. Holy crap.
Oh, yeah. Did I have a name to go on the channel or something? I didn't know.
All right. Let me go and advertise the stream, and then that's pretty much it. And then we'll start in just a moment. All right. So let's stop down. What the fuck? All right. So we go put this in a few groups, and then I'm ready to go. So how have you been?
I'm stuck talking to you, so not too good.
Oh my gosh. You sound like Mark Z while I'm like Travis trying to balance your bad personality.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you calling me bad personality, Mark.
Holy crap. So, oh my lord. All right, so let's go to this first group. Paste. I'm live. Come say hi. Usually just a nice little thing to say with a little smiley face here and there. I remember when we first started, our first video was about 100 Thieves. So, like, fast track it. How do you feel about 100 Thieves right now?
I mean, how do
it's been a long time. No, because like remember how we started the channel, and then our first video was about 100 Thieves, and it's been a little bit of time since then.
The first thing about 100 Thieves was purely because I wanted to talk about Piglet for like 30 minutes, and it just didn't end up doing nothing. Like that was just a terrible situation. I wanted to talk about them, and who else was it?
Who else was it? Oh, Sven.
Yeah, there was a bunch of people I just wanted to talk about, but for the most part, I mean, the team is drastically different from what it was, and I don't honestly know if they're any better.
I don't know. A lot of people
had more hype from them back then than I did now. I think they might be a better team in general, but in terms
they had better players, I think.
I'm just saying in comparison to the rest of the league, I think they were a better team back then because I feel like they had a better from what we could see at the beginning of the season. Like, I just don't see them doing much this season. I don't think they're going to be one of the teams to make it out to Worlds. I mean, they're obviously going to make it to playoffs because almost everybody is, but...
Yeah. I mean, when we first started talking about 100 Thieves, they had... Who did they have? They were going in it with... I can't remember who they were. It was, They're going to have... Who he... Yeah? No, it's Who he, Alphamu... And they're going to have freaking Someday Onda, and
they had Someday Onda. They had Soligo for a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, but that wasn't too good. They had Ryu for a little bit. You're talking about last year, right?
Yeah. Oh, that roster that all completely flopped.
Ryu, Bang, Aframu, Someday, and then they replaced Someday with Fake God. Like, halfway through the season, it was my least favorite thing that's ever happened.
Oh, yeah, because they couldn't get the mid lane position correct because they had Soligo at one point. Because
Soligo just didn't have enough time to develop. I really do think he has potential still.
He actually played a lot better in those other, what are they called? Those minor tournaments, actually.
He played it. I mean, it's not just that. I think if we base it off the fact that he's done well inside of the what's it called scene. Like, there's a lot of scenes he's done well in. Like, he usually does well on the solo queue scene. He usually does well everywhere else. And I don't think solo queue is a good way to translate whether or not somebody's good. But I mean, if you're that successful, I do think you have potential to be good. They thrust him onto the scene too quickly, and he wasn't able to fully develop by the time.
Well, I mean, their season's already over. They thought he was gonna be some savior, and I'm like, that's not the type of guy. Like, he's not the type of player, right? Especially that's so rare that someone comes out and saves a season. It's like expecting what Blabber did for Cloud9 back when they were shuffling their roster back in 2018 summer. Like how Blabber burst onto the scene with Jensen doing the whole Zillion Kindred combo, and then they were like winning every single game. Like, expecting that out of him is just ridiculous, especially in the mid lane. Like, our mid laners are just not that good. So
CLG last year was so good. Who did CLG had? Ruin, Wiggly, Power of
Hmm.
Evil, Stixay, and Biofrost.
That was actually a pretty okay team.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I had a lot of I'm kind of hope for Wiggly 2 seasons ago when he only had 3 games in. It's not like we didn't have enough time to see if he was good or not. I did think he had potential,
Hmm.
but he drastically underperformed in the spring split. I think he played a lot better than the summer split, though. That was probably his bounce back. And then, I mean, whatever he's at this season again.
Oh, I want to announce something to you guys since you're going to be watching this live. I do have a special interview coming up with somebody working inside of the LCS with a team. So that's coming up. We're recording it on Tuesday, and I'll put it out on. Depends if I'm busy on Tuesday because it's my day off, and I got a lot of stuff I got to do on my days off. So I'll probably have it out on Wednesday or Wednesday. Latest, Tuesday earliest. This person was willing to actually talk to me, so this is a big step for the channel. Obviously, since I've been talking to a lot of people behind the scenes, there was one other guy who's going to give me one too. He actually canceled this week. He said he's going to be doing it next week with me because he had to do some work. So obviously it's an ex-pro player is one of them, and the other person works inside the scene. Actually, I was super excited. She was like, yeah, I'll talk to you whenever you want to. So future collaborations. So this is I was really excited, actually. Oh my lord! When I told him, he was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm not kidding. I will not kid you guys about that. It's gonna happen. I'm recording it on Tuesday, 12 a.m. and then it'll be released earliest Tuesday or latest Wednesday. Because like on my main channel, I have to run me and my partner's show this week, and then I have to invite some guests in. And then after that, I have to upload those videos. Those are like 5-hour videos in general, sometimes 3 hours lowest. Because we're talking about all types of stuff. And then for League, it's been really hard trying to get the channel up. It's been super hard because I remember me and him had disagreements about how it should be ran. Then I did it myself, and he was like, "Man, this guy actually knows what he's doing." I was like,
Okay.
I told him,
Okay.
I was 4 years successful. I was successful in YouTube for 4 years. I was like, I know what I do. I know what I'm doing.
I said I didn't want to be part of the meme channel. That's what I said.
And we are not a meme channel. We are very serious, actually. But yeah. Oh, thank you, Ryan. Oh, exciting. I forgot. In this program, I can highlight your comments. Thank you, Ryan. Ryan's always here. Thank you, Ryan, for being here, man. You're a great guy. CLG was good. CLG was good last year. But the issue with CLG is that were they better than Clutch Gaming? Because remember, they were about to beat Clutch in that 4th game, and then they lost the 4th game, not bringing it to a game 5. And then after that, that's when CLG lost to them. And then that's when you saw Clutch face TSM because Clutch beat FlyQuest, then they beat CLG, then they narrowly beat TSM. It was weird though because CLG, they could have beaten Clutch in that game 4, and then who knows what happens in a game 5. Maybe we're looking at a completely different team going to Worlds. I don't know if CLG would, because CLG would have gotten an SKT's group with RNG and Fnatic, and would they have gone 0-6?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, but they had Power of Evil though. They had better players than that CG team. That's the weird part.
I mean, it doesn't really matter if they had better players or not. I think all around their play style was just trash. They had substantially better players in a few positions. Their bot lane was pretty
bad
all around. Their top lane were substantially worse. I don't even know how you could really.
Oh no, Huni didn't look that much better either though. Like, for being honest,
quite a bit better than Rune in the summers. In summer split, Huni completely bounced back, which he does every year recently. Like he bounced back pretty well, and he was looking like probably a top 5 top laner by the end of the year. Rune looked like maybe the worst.
Yeah, I don't know where people got that. Oh, he was like the 5th best or 3rd best top laner. I was like, where are you even getting that from? Where are you getting this info? I don't know.
He had a few games where I actually do think he bounced back a few. Like he actually had a really solid amount of few games, which is actually I think I shouldn't say he was the worst top laner last year. I think that's too extreme, but he really was not impressive regardless. I mean, I don't know. I don't think CLG actually had a better team because of the fact that really their only playthrough, because even Wiggly wasn't that good. Like Wiggly looked a lot better, but he still wasn't solid. So their only solid player on that team was Power of Evil.
Well, I would say Wiggly because Wiggly was actually, I don't know, he was decent.
Back. I mean,
he bounced back. That was his best split, though. That was his best split.
I mean, honestly, as much as people don't like to disagree with, I don't really think that he looked better than Lyra. Like, I honestly think that Lyra had a really measured play style.
I counter both of them. I would counter both of that out. Like Lyra had a bad spring. He had
I
a
don't
bad
even think he did.
spring.
I think he had the reason he looked so bad is because at the beginning of spring he tried to play around topside. And honestly, if you look at the beginning of the seasons when he was ganking topside, it was always on the fault of Huni as to why he wasn't able to get the ganks going. Like again, I don't think Lyra was the best jungler in the league. I'm not trying to say that, but I think he was quite a bit better than what everybody made him out to be.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's hard to say because like what's the team Lyra had? Because at one point Lyra had to play with Piglet, which is already damning in itself.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing whatever you just said. I won't even talk about that.
Then
there obviously was people fighting for resources on that team. I think again, Cody's son was completely terrible because he slowed down the pace of their game. But at the same time, maybe they needed to slow down a pace because
okay, so let's we gotta backtrack. We gotta backtrack because Piglet and Vulcan were on CG Academy, and they were pretty much consensus like the best bot lane in Academy for that 20. It was a 2018. Yeah, it was summer because they came into 2019 spring. So they were 2018 spring and summer. They were I guess the best bot lane. I don't know. It's hard to say. I can't really judge. I mean, they're Academy bot lanes. What is that really an accomplishment?
But you're saying in Academy specifically, though.
Yeah, like I
mean, pointed out Academy, which I don't think is an argument.
If I'm the best player in a little league team, does that really matter?
Yeah, I think you're a weirdo who's playing with little league kids, man.
All right, so if I'm playing basketball against a bunch of 15-year-olds and I smash them, does that make me actually?
You literally do that at the church basketball court, and you sock them in the nose.
Okay, does that mean I'm actually a good basketball player? Probably not.
And you're not. You're just mean. You bully children.
You're mean, and you're mean, and you're mean. That's your argument. So I win, right?
Sure.
No, okay. Like you're a plumber, so let's say I put you in
more analogies.
No. I'm just saying like let's take you and put you in a field of like experienced plumbers for like 30 years. You're not gonna look good by like they would look good by comparison with you there. See, like it's honest.
You're misunderstanding because I look good regardless of the situation. It doesn't matter about the plumbing or anything. You can't make this look bad.
Like so you have Piglet and Vulcan. And then later on, they get promoted to the CG's main roster because before they had a shit roster with Febivin.
That's literally just if you could have just said Smurfing, it would have made more sense. But instead, you had to bring up the fact that you bully like 13-year-old kids on the basketball court at church.
Guys, don't listen. He's literally delusional.
Literally happens.
He's literally delusional. He's literally Ryan, don't believe him, Ryan. No, he's lying.
He actually injured like 3 people at our church because he does flying knee kicks and socks them in the nose too.
This man is on crack. This man's on crack.
On the court with you.
This man's crazy. This man's nuts. All right. Oh my god. But later on, they got Piglet and Vulcan, and that's when they took pieces of Echo Fox's roster, which was Huni and Demonte. Demonte did really well that year when he was first coming onto the scene, and then got Dardoch. So you thought it was gonna be a pretty good team. Rookie support, people were hyped on with Vulcan. Piglet, it was kind of his last split anyway. People already knew he had bad attitude issues, or he didn't want to perform. It's a bunch of TL breaking point things, and then you had Demonte, who was pretty solid. Then you had Huni, who was coming off a decent split, kinda, and you had Lyra, and they wanted to rebuild around Lyra.
I want to point out Dardoch was thrown in the name somewhere, and I don't know how. How did you throw Dardoch in this team?
I was confused. I thought
you said Dardoch, and I'm like, Dardoch was never on this team.
Yeah, no, I confused Dardoch with Lyra. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry if you're watching this later on.
Flaws of Dardoch, like you really went in depth on him.
Okay. But I don't know. They just seem like a team that I knew was gonna fail. Like Piglet hadn't really shown me anything in a long time.
I'm literally so upset with. Okay, I'll point out a few things. First of all, at the beginning of the season, if you look at most of the games, he was the main carry, regardless of anybody says. On top, like everybody looks at the Demonte pop-offs, but most of the DPS was outputted by what's it called, Piglet in those beginning games. And I hate this because mechanically, I think people completely underestimate how well Piglet did at the beginning of the season. As much as people want to completely like throw him under the bus and stuff, he was not the main reason as to why they lost. They started doing better. I agree with that when they put him Cody said. They slowed down the pace of their game, which forced Huni to be able to farm more often and not have to be but you just that was you. Okay. It slowed down the pace of the game, which forced Lyra and Huni not to have to force early game pressure because they sucked at it. Honestly, if anybody looks at it, most of the early game aggression they put out there when it was centralized around top side, it was trash. When he started centralizing around top and bot, it was not good. When they replaced the bot lane with a more passive early game centric bot lane, they started doing a lot better because not only was Vulcan able to roam, it was able to supplement the roaming playstyle.
Piglet plays one style and one style only. He only goes forward. Piglet's not a weak side player. I don't think Piglet was ever a good weak side player.
Weak side player is only defined by the support. I think it's not as impactful in the bot lane because both bot laners are going to be trash at the early game.
Like he played
especially like he played Sivir, and that
was the only weak side pick he ever got was Sivir.
What? I mean, he played a lot of weak side. There's not really weak side in ADCs. The weak side is always defined by support. Weak side ADCs don't exist unless it's
like
Caitlyn.
Kai'Sa, Vayne.
Kai'Sa, Vayne are not weak side to anybody, but like again, ADCs do not define laning phases in bot lane because defined bot lane lanes are defined by the supports because they have all the engage. They have 90% of the damage because ADC's damage does not ramp up and they're until 2 to 3 items for most of them. Like I can if I'm ahead as a Taric support, I can 1v1 a 2-item ADC. And that's
guys,
just because
he actually did because
I do it all the time.
Our friend Jason, he was like, remember last year how Sona Taric worked? He was like, how does Sona Taric work? He was like, I'll show you. We went in like literally 15 minutes. I was like, Sona Taric is so troll. What is? And they're like, no, it's not.
It was a bunch of gold players though. That was just me making like it was not bad. When you're playing Sona Taric, you're just disgustingly passive, and you just have to because you can heal through everything.
Then why was Sneaky and Zeyzal not good at playing busted Sona Taric?
They were just trash at everything, dude. Like, what were they good
No,
at?
you even by your own admission, you said it's defined by a support role. No. You said it's defined by the support. So when someone split,
I genuinely think both of them were bad at that split. I think Zeyzal was the worst one.
Yeah, he couldn't play Lux at all. He couldn't play Lux at all. He couldn't land a skill shot to save his life.
I don't know, man. I mean, I was not too impressed with Zeyzal that entire year, but I mean, I'm not going to disagree with him too much. I really do not. I don't dislike Zeyzal.
And then people were like, "Oh, Sneaky's so good." No, Sneaky was kind of just washed up at that point.
Yeah, Sneaky's not. I mean, remember what
he had one good split. He had one good split.
His spring split was good, but that's only because Ezreal was like everything besides Ezreal he was trash on.
No, he played Sivir really well. He played Lucian, Sivir, Xayah. He played Lucian, Sivir, Xayah. He played a lot of stuff. It was just I don't know. The team started to focus around Niski more. Niski became
I'm just saying. I don't think the team looked as good unless he was on Ezreal.
I
think my big problem with that team specifically was their aggressive playstyle with a bunch of early game passive players. Like Niski hadn't developed that playstyle he has this year, so he was more laning centric 80s mid laner that was able to roam around the map, but he wasn't as effective. Zay, where did he just go? Where is he at? Is he gone?
Me?
I saw you disappear on the screen.
I went to go get a drink.
I didn't know. I heard you get up and everything. I wasn't sure.
I can still hear you, and the audio still picks you up even though I'm gone. Oh, what was I gonna say? I don't know. I just don't like how people were saying, "Oh, the team was gonna fail without Seeking." Like that's just stupid by logic, by comparison. We've never seen them without We've never seen them with another ADC, so you can't say it won't work without having the results to show it.
I want to point out. Going into the season, if we look at the roster based purely on preseason expectations of each player, it did look like a downgrade everywhere. And that's understandable. People would be disappointed because why would you pick up Sven? I mean, I still believed in Sven, but
you said Sven was better, so that's still an upgrade in your opinion, though.
I did say
but that's still an upgrade in your opinion, though.
I'm saying it was a slight upgrade because Sven had also played poorly that previous season. I still believed in him. But that's just because I have I'm a big homer for Sven because I think he's one of the best ADCs we've had. I genuinely, again, when it comes down to him, the preseason, we replaced the MVP jungler with Blabber, who did not look very impressive in the few games he played.
Now, to be fair, to kind of guide for Blabber's case, Sven Skaren does have splits where he's not relevant, though.
I do agree with that. I think that he's inconsistent.
Yeah, so like if you're going by Jack's logic, he could not have had that MVP split this time around.
I agree. I don't think he would have done it again. I honestly don't think he 100% deserved this previous split. but I do think he played well enough to the point where he should have been in contention. I think Blabber, however, we're going into Blabber didn't look great the previous season, and they replaced the MVP jungler. They replaced top lane again stayed the same. The mid lane did not look extremely impressive last season, so it was like you didn't really make an upgrade there, and then you replaced the bot lane with somebody who didn't look much of a bot grade. So,
but you replaced Zazel with Vulcan.
That was in my opinion, that was the biggest upgrade. I really like right when I saw that, I was like, that's probably gonna be a pretty decent bot lane. I didn't want to put him at the top again because I already made that mistake with Sven last year. And
there was that Crackdown episode where Jack said that Sven would always destroy Sneaky. It's like, why would he not get him? I don't know what people think. Like, if he's literally watching him get destroyed by other people, why would you just not buy the better player right in front of you? That doesn't make any sense. How people thought, oh well, let's just keep this guy because we like him. It's not a popularity contest. I want to win. Like I've been following I've been following C9 since 2014. I'm trying to it was 6 years getting second place. I kind of wanted to be first place after a while. Like, I didn't hate Sneaky. It was just like, hey, you got to try something new. Like, all the world-class teams always try different players out. IG, FPX, Fnatic's always won by trying different stuff out. G2's always won by trying different stuff out.
Definitely switch somebody around.
IG switched a lot of people.
We're talking about the worlds. They switched out terrible people. You're obviously going to replace the worst people in the league.
My god. But it was like, we'd never seen Cloud9 without anybody different besides Sneaky. I was like, it's only going to work one of two ways. Either it works really well or it works really bad. It's, you can't say it won't work because we've never seen it without a different ADC. That's the other argument you can throw in there. That's what I was trying to tell people. It's like, Sven was always better than Sneaky, so why would he not thrive in a better environment like they said Cloud9 has had? It was kind of like writing on the wall that he would do well. If he's a better player by comparison, and why would he not thrive better in a better environment? That goes hand in hand, though.
And I always think Sven had the hard end of the whatever he was on in TSM because apparently they do that to everybody there. So I'm just not going to give him too much slag. I haven't seen anybody succeed. Who has succeeded beside Bjergsen really?
Doublelift
in TSM.
Doublelift
is trash in international.
Dyrus kind of was successful.
I will point out maybe old TSM. I'm talking about new age TSM post the everybody.
Biofrost.
Biofrost
was kind of successful.
Kind of. It's hard to say.
Outside of that, no, nobody else. Haunter, you can say Haunter.
I don't think Haunter either. I don't think we're talking about internationally.
Oh, okay.
I think only Bjergsen has been somewhat comparable to somebody that's been successful internationally. Everybody else has been trashed on TSM because it doesn't translate into the rest of the season. Their success is defined by the playstyle that Bjergsen puts on, and when Bjergsen forces this playstyle on them, it doesn't translate because it only benefits him in the long run, against a competent team at least.
But that's what the top LPL teams do, though. All the top LPL teams do that. You get your star player, and you play that style, though.
Let's point out, their top players.
But that's what they do, though.
No. The problem is they have Rookie, which is not only substantially better, but they also have the side lanes, which are more comparable. They can hold their own, even if the metas aren't being funneled into that. And on top of the fact, they never centralize around Rookie. I don't even know.
Generally, most RNG always played around Uzi. That was their playstyle.
They only had Uzi, to be fair.
They had,
yeah. That's the thing. They for the most part, you can find teams similar to them, but they either have a better player than Bjergsen, or they have other parts of the team where they can play through. Like, we look at FPX. FPX doesn't play through Doomby, even though he's the star player. Doomby plays through the rest of the team.
But that is a playstyle, though.
I didn't say it wasn't a playstyle. Everybody has a playstyle. I said it's not. They're not being forced to conform to Bjergsen's playstyle or Doomby's playstyle.
Oh, okay, yeah. So like the old TSM, Team Liquid with Doublelift, right?
Oh, you're talking about Doublelift Team Liquid?
Team Liquid.
I think honestly, yeah, that was a big problem I had with that Team Liquid because Doublelift wasn't the best player on that team. I think it was Core JJ first, and Core JJ should have been roaming around the map a lot more often than he did. But I mean, he was kind of stuck in lane a few times because again, if you lose Doublelift's lead, he's not going to be as impactful. Because let's say Cody's son who lost the lead. Like that's just not good with his play style. I think that was my big problem with Double Lift. I think that he was a negative. He was a negative. What's it called? Negative asset in terms of just mentality and just how they looked at the game, because they couldn't actually transform the way they played into a better, like a, how do I say this?
I mean, he wanted blunt criticism. Like he wanted basically to say, "Hey, tell me if I suck, and then I'll fix it."
I don't believe that. I don't believe he was capable of that.
I mean, he had grown. He'd grown a lot since those COG days. So I mean,
he grew a lot in the TSM days, and then I genuinely don't think he was much better on the Team Liquid days. Like I think he was comparable throughout the entirety of his tenure from TSM all the way to Team Liquid. I think he was pretty much the same player after that. I don't think criticism was the big thing, and that was like really helping him change. I think it was comparable. First of all, I think he had better players around him, so the most of the force of needing to be carried wasn't on him, and he had a better. His teams had a better grasp of the game after that. Like I genuinely think that's just what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It depends though. Like, if you're always winning all the time, what's the need for arguments?
I don't disagree with that, but you're not winning anywhere else besides NA. If your only goal is to win NA, then that's fine. It makes perfect sense as to why you wouldn't change anything. But that's not their goal. Their goal isn't to only win NA, and that's why they. I mean, I don't see like them being happy with the results.
I was just thinking about this today. What I was thinking was that, you know how Double said he wanted to play with Xmithy when everybody wanted to get rid of them after Worlds 2019? I mean, that's what a winner's mentality is. Like, Michael Jordan did it to his teams. Kobe Bryant did it to his teams. They wanted to get rid of bad players, so they wanted to take chances. Michael Jordan literally did it. What do you?
Okay, Michael Jordan literally said, "I'm going to retire if you get rid of Scottie Pippen." Scottie Pippen was like the second best player in the league at that point.
Okay, so I'm talking about bad players. They wanted to get rid of bad players.
Yeah, Michael Jordan literally crushed it. He made like one of his teammates cry, and he just quit the league after that. He's done it a few times. I can understand to an extent. I think that my big thing about it is I don't know what it was about him. I think that his understanding of the
game,
the game was just not up to par, and I think that's why TSM works so much, because if you have two players who don't know what they're doing but they're both vocal, you'll have a somewhat decent amount of information being fed into each other. And that's why I think it can work. It's not going to work when they're both by themselves, because they both just don't understand how to progress past the mid game. It's always been a struggle for both of their teams. Each team that Bjergsen and Doublet has been on as the main shot caller, they've always struggled at mid game.
Or shot callers.
But when they were on TSM together, somehow this didn't exist anymore, and their mid game transition was pretty fine.
Or you're looking at that through a 2016. 2017.
I'm just saying that's all I can look. Like that's that's the only success they've had in mid game was when they were together. So
but can that be replicated?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what can be replicated in
because you got to factor in. It's different this time around. You have Spica and Broken Blade, not Hunter and Senskarin. That's the different part about it.
Yeah, that's very disappointing.
I mean, Broken Blade's fine.
Broken Blade is okay. I'm good with Broken Blade.
Spica problem.
I really don't believe in him. I really
guys, if you're watching on the VOD, this man is. I try to fight for Spica. I'm like, hey man, TSM literally threw this guy into the deep end with bloody meat strapped to his legs.
I don't think he has for the most part, you can see bad attempts, or mechanical misplays that you can define a player like he made a mistake. But he genuinely see what he was trying for, so it could work out in the future if he does it.
But can you help his case that he was
never did any of that? He just stood there. Every single game he was included in, he was never impactful. Like, he was never one of the driving forces behind this team, and that's why I despise this character of this player.
That's the point of developing, is that you got to give him some leeway here. Remember, because he was thrown into the deep end. He was thrown into the deep end last minute, like.
I don't know.
I can't expect much out of him like that. Like, it's literally like me come to you and saying, "Hey, my wife's pregnant, and yeah, like, how would you like?" It's something like that. It's like that's what they did to him. They're like, "Hey, we're about to lose."
World? Why would I freak out if your wife is pregnant?
No. It's like, oh my lord. It's sorry. It's like if your girlfriend came up to you, like, and she's like already 9 months pregnant. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna have your kid." It's like, what are you gonna do? And that's the same thing with him. It's like they came to him last minute and was like, "Hey, if you don't play with us, we're probably not gonna make Worlds," and they end up not making Worlds anyway. But I can understand his case though.
I'll point out there's a few possibilities as to why he played poorly. Maybe they said, "Don't do anything and let the team." You're just here. No, I'm serious. Maybe they included him. He didn't know what he was doing, so they said, "Stay here. You don't have to do anything, and the team will play for you, and you just contribute to that." And maybe they told him not to make any moves. And that's really it's the only possibility. It's the only possibility as to why he played poorly. Like, if that was the case, I'll take back what I said. I don't think it was. I really just think he's not good. But it's possible that I'm wrong. Like,
really, I don't think he's bad. I think he's
terrible.
Bad.
I think he's terrible. Like, and that's just based off what I saw of him, though. I don't know.
It's hard to say. I want to see a full split out of him before I judge like Blabber to a certain extent.
I mean, I judged Blabber immediately, and I still think I'm right about it. I don't think Blabber is a superstar.
But we never saw Blabber in a full split before, and then people made their judgment off him now. We saw him in half a split.
You can really make it. I genuinely think jungling is one of the roles that you can make an inference off of based on like pretty fast, because again, their play style is defined by the mistakes, like either mistakes they make, or or the mistakes they don't make. Like, again, it's fine to make mistakes in the jungling position when you're just starting out. It's going to be impactful, and you're probably going to lose the game because of it. But at the very least, if you're trying these things, there is a chance that if it works out later down the line, you could be a good jungler. Like, you could know what you do. But at the same time, if it's not working out, if you're not doing anything, there's not really much to go off of besides the fact that he just genuinely doesn't know what he's doing around the map.
And that could be true too. That is also true. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying you should judge him off the full split rather than the few playoff matches we saw. That's a little different there. You know, he got 2 playoff matches last minute. TSM was like, "Hey, I'm pregnant. Hey, you gonna have this kid or not?" And then he was like, "I guess," you know.
I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. If you just barely saw your girlfriend was pregnant after, like, when she was 9 months old, I don't know why you keep giving me this analogy. Like, that's.
I'm just saying, like, what else analogy you want from me? It's like, hey, I just got shot last minute. Hey, can you help me out? It's like, I can't physically blame him for something that he literally couldn't do anything.
Blame him.
Yeah, I mean, now I can. I can judge him now by what he's going to show me now because there's like 2 playoff games. Like,
I really, again, I think it's easy to define somebody's play style, but again, it is TSM. TSM is one of the worst people to judge a jungler off of. So that is the only solace I can say is that it could just be TSM, but it's not like he's still on TSM regardless. So like the play style is not going to change from that. Like, he's literally still on TSM. The problem is if it's stemming from TSM's whole play style, it's still going to be the same. But again, they have more voices talking now with the introduction of Double O, so maybe that's going to help them out a little much. But again, it also,
on the topic of that, let's start talking about the LCS then. So guys, we're just like shit talking for a little bit there. So let's actually talk about the LCS. I'll start TSM, so we're on the topic. So where do you think TSM is going to place? I think they're going to place second place behind Cloud9.
I think my big problem, again, I think they had a big it's hard for me to say because I genuinely think they took a very large step back in the jungle role, but I also think that they took a pretty solid step forward, I guess. Not really mechanically, but more so like vocally, which is one of the bigger problems with TSM. I think there wasn't enough voices going around, and they were just getting lost in the mid game, and maybe that fixes their problems. So I'm willing to give them second place because I think they can fix, like, with the introduction of Double Lift and the ability for them to more so get over that hump that they're having, I think it could possibly make this work out, but that's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, they have a real. Is it fair to say Beerson's the top 3 mid right now?
I think so. I mean, again, if you look at the playoffs, I think he was the best mid laner in the playoffs.
So you have potentially one of the best mid laners. You have Broken Blade, who's top 3 top laner. You have a 6th place jungler, probably somewhere in there. That's where Dardoch kind of was at the very end.
I don't agree with that.
Or beginning to end, depending on he was maybe at the highest of 5th place jungler, which is
I genuinely think, again, I always point out I don't really think you can name off too many junglers that I think were better than him.
Well, that's why I said kind of 5th place, you know. And then you had Double Lift and Biofrost, so it's like. Why are all these teams like this year trying to get the band back together? Hey, let's get a team back that already failed, but let's do it again. Like, I don't know. It's weird how they do these things. Let's see. So there's Is it fair to place him in second place? I was thinking about putting him in second, or maybe putting EG at second. I don't know. Like, it's really hard to place where they're going to be.
Evil Geniuses, they got Huni in the top lane. They have
Maybe.
It's a possibility. I think it's going to happen, though. So Huni, Svenskeren, Zuxay, and then I don't know what's going to be the ADC.
It might be Deathly and Zazel again. That bot lane.
That team is not going to get second place. I'm sorry. Unless Huni turns it on and Deathly and Zazel just
turns into Mad Life.
I don't know. I mean, you're really going to have to see a lot more from Zazel if you want this team to succeed.
I don't know. They haven't confirmed their roster yet. Let me go look it up right now.
There's too many imports, so obviously something's changing. I don't know who's going to be the change unless Huni's just not playing. I put CL second. I don't know. I mean, I really don't believe Team Liquid could be good.
I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, I could see TL bouncing back and being second.
I want to see. My big thing about it is, again, we didn't see enough from Tactical for me to say that he's a solid ADC. And again, I didn't really like the way, like, Team Liquid's successful playstyle last year was defined by how well CoreJJ played, and he did not look solid last split. So unless CoreJJ bounces back, I don't see them making top 3. CoreJJ is going to be the big defining point of this team.
Yeah, Leaguepedia for the summer took off all the roster swaps, and they're updating it as it will go. So,
they're not. I mean, Leaguepedia literally doesn't. They only have the old spring split starting rosters. They have not.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so most people's predictions are going to be Cloud9 first.
I mean, who can argue with that? You can't. Really
I'm gonna do a hot take right now. I think they're gonna win the second split.
They're very hot take.
I think they're gonna win the second another split, but I think this split in playoffs they'll get challenged though. Maybe it's really hard to say. Based off what Niski and Sven and all of them said, where they're just dumpstering people. I don't know. That's even a hot take in itself.
This team is never gonna lose until Sven and Vulcan stop playing so well. You're never gonna lose a game. Never gonna lose their top slot until these two play a little bit worse, I guess. Like they can literally replace everybody on this team and still have a solid foundation because Sven and Vulcan are probably one of the best bot lanes NA has ever seen. Like they are genuinely. Again, I'm not gonna put out. I'm gonna go and people are gonna get upset that I'm gonna say that I do think they are the best one we've ever seen. But a lot of people don't want to agree with that because it's been too little amount of time. But I genuinely think, again, this is probably the most impressive bot lane I've seen. They have too many good points on this bot lane.
That's why I said, could you imagine them not winning the summer split?
I can't know. I mean, it's, again, if Vulcan and Zen.
That's why I told people it's not me being. It's not a fan bias thing. It's like I genuinely think they're going to win the second split round. I don't see a team. I mean,
their top side is not. I mean, again, Licorice is good, but their mid side is not as impressive.
Blabber, they make up for Blabber's faults, and he makes up for theirs. Like even that is good in it of itself.
I mean, I don't like C9 at all. Like I honestly don't like C9 at all, but I do like Sven and Vulcan.
My C9 bias is tingling.
Yeah.
No. It's like if Blabber makes up for their problems, and they make up for his. And they're also.
I'm not too impressed with Niski either, but that's only that's international level kind of stuff. So I don't think it's going to matter on this scene. I don't think it's going to matter in the NA scene. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I don't think Niski's going to do well against. Oh, that was big. Why is that so big?
Oh, you can highlight people's comments.
Why did you do that? That was gigantic.
Because it makes them feel good.
Does that make you feel good, Ryan, or does that make you feel uncomfortable like it does me?
I do say everyone that gets this treatment on my main channel, like he just freaks out about everything. Oh my God.
So I think the big problem I have with this team, obviously, first off, is internationally, I don't know how well they're going to stack out because they have a lot of weak. You did it again. It's blinding me.
Do you know what I was thinking about? Do you know what I was thinking about? Why didn't NA and EU have a mid-season cup like the LPL? And the LCK. That would have been a good chance to show how strong C9 was.
Anybody wants to come near America right now, dude? Come on. What are you thinking?
No. You do it from the state. Like, do it the way.
No, I mean, I think the big reason as to why we didn't do it.
Could you imagine top 4 LPL, top 4 LCS? At least that's something.
A lot of the rosters in NA just are not solidified right now. Like, I mean, you could take the top 4 and all that stuff. I mean, I think there's a lot of the teams who made drastic changes in their roster in the NA scene, besides Cloud9, and they're trying to get together as a team. I think a cup would be interesting, but it wouldn't be useful to them right now.
It's useful. It's definitely useful because you got to factor in how would people now consider Knight and Karsa the best mid jungle duo on the planet. So like we would never know that unless we got an international tournament to prove that. Knight and Karsa played amazing.
They played well. They're not the best synergized duo. No, I don't agree with that in the slightest.
I mean, I said considered. It's
Knight don't even play together at the beginning of the game. They just function around other.
Karsa just jumps in. Karsa just jumps in, and Knight's like, I guess I'll follow. I mean,
they're not a good duo in my opinion.
No, but like we would never see how strong they are if we didn't get an international event mid-season to show that. That's why I said the LEC and LCS should have had a mid-season tournament, like maybe top 3 to show like just something to give us something for like to see how strong because like having this pre-international tournament will let you work on things. Not having it at all is going to hinder NA and EU though.
They need to build up their team, like their team synergy right now. There's 2 possibilities that come from an international tournament this early on in a roster's formation. I think there's either
you face better players and get better.
That is the weak again. There's 2 possibilities. Either function as a team and get thrust into the situation and feel morally demotivated because you get completely demolished by more stabilized teams because they've been together for so long, or you learn from your mistakes, which could happen too. I think the best teams are able to learn from their mistakes, but do you think a lot of these upper tier teams in the NA are those types of people?
Probably not, but like you do hinder them without giving them international experience.
But again, a lot of the teams already do have international experience on their teams. I think first of all, they need to get to that point where they're together as a team and they're able to like fully flesh out what their team environment is before they try and thrust themselves into a team that's going to demolish them. Like these teams are going to get demolished besides maybe Cloud9.
I mean, but you never know what you can work on if you don't face better competition, because if you're constantly facing the weaker LCS competition, you're not going to get better either. They already said that's not good for them.
If you face a pro in a 1v1 or you face a diamond player in a 1v1, who are you going to learn from more?
Which one? A diamond or a pro player. I mean, there's a good chance you can learn from both of them. Okay, you're going to learn something.
You're going to learn more from the diamond player because if you're not getting completely demolished, if you're getting completely demolished in a lane, I'm basing it off of experiences I've had at the very least. Maybe it's not right. If you face somebody that's completely way above your caliber, you can't see what you're doing wrong because they're punishing every single thing. If you see somebody who's only punishing slight amounts of things and you're able to see what does work, you're able to work from there. Like that's the big thing I think works out the best is you can't really get better as a whole like squad if you're like against a team that's substantially above your caliber.
What about let's go to Demonte. Demonte has now joined Golden Guardians as their starting mid. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome.
And they bench Golden Glue. So Golden Glue continues to get shuffled around, as we'll call it.
Yeah, by the way, he said, IDK what you put on FlyQuest. And then he said, I feel cheated when T1.
Everyone felt so bad when T1. Like T1 didn't. That's the thing though. T1 didn't play bad. That's the thing. They didn't play bad. They just had bad decisions. That's what killed them. Besides the quarter from the semifinals, that was not great for them. But I think this was a good showing for Korea for the most part because it genuinely showed that they did try and adapt their play style to what is more suited for the meta. The thing is that they can play fast now. They just don't know how to do it correctly yet. But once they perfect how to play fast,
it's that they made again. China doesn't know what they're doing half the time when they play aggressive either. I think it's just genuinely a coin flip once you get inside the game, and that's just what the meta.
Yeah. No, but you said that if Korea ever adapts to learning how to play fast and they have the better players, they're going to be the best again.
I think it's going to be between them and China from now on because China just genuinely has great players now. China ramped up significantly in the past. I still think Korea does have the best players in general, but I think it's very close at this point.
Again, it was nice to see them play fast. I was like, oh my god, they're finally playing quickly.
T1 didn't lose like any early games. They won most of their early games, and then they lost it in the mid game by a Baron call or by something stupid, by Faker trying to backdoor 2 in-hit turrets.
In his defense, he almost actually won that game based off Damwon being morons. He almost solo won that game himself.
They played. I was really happy. I don't care about the international tournaments. I really am happy with the way that they played the game. I'm happy with how they attempted to play the game, at least.
Yeah, BDD said that too. He said they try to play fast, but it just didn't show that way on stage. I think they're still adjusting to how to do it because Korea plays so controlled. They like to control. I don't know.
It's not gonna swap for Dragon X. Dragon X is never gonna be aggressive in the early game.
Dragon X will never be fast. That team will continue. That's a snail team. The only fast player is Chovy, and when Doran is solo killing the Shy, you know the Shy just have started to suck. Doran was solo killing the Shy. What game are we? What is this? Doran's horrible.
Doran was really good last year, and it was probably like this is the upcoming guy. This is gonna be the next guy in Korea, and then he was trash.
Oh my god!
Maybe a mentality thing.
What did you think about the second day when Genji made it out? I told you JDG and Genji were making it out. You're like IG and Dragon X.
What's up? And it was a 50-50 chance for the most part.
We knew IG sucked though. We knew that.
Moderately okay. All of them were comparable in my opinion. I think all the teams looked like they could have beat the other one. I'm really disappointed. Like yeah, Dragon X literally made it to the tiebreaker. So it's not like they didn't play well. They almost made it out themselves.
They almost made it out, but since IG didn't win any games, it forced a 3-way tiebreaker. If IG had won a single game, Dragon X makes it out.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. I mean, it all came down to the fact that I think that Dragon X could have made it. Dragon X played pretty well, and I think again
They mentally broke apart. They were winning. They didn't do anything really that wrong though. They're playing their play style and winning, which is a bad play style.
It's not a bad play style. I disagree with it. I just don't think again anybody's mastered how to do it in this meta. Again, it works in solo queue, so it's obviously if it works in solo queue, it must work out pretty well.
Oh god! So when a guy plays Janna mid, is that gonna work out in professional?
I'm not gonna lie. I've been pretty much schooled by Janna mid as Zed. I don't want to say it can't work out. It's obviously meta. If it could be me.
Like guys, I talked to him. He was like, "How did T1 lose?" I was like, "They didn't play bad though." So that's the thing though. They didn't play bad and still lost.
I want to know how you get. We didn't talk like this. Conversation didn't happen. Stop making these things happen when they don't happen.
Who was I disappointed about in Korea?
Disappointed? I don't think any of the teams were. They all almost made it out. Every single one of the teams almost made it out of the group.
And Genji did make it out though.
Yeah, well, they did too. But I said all 4 of their teams almost made it out of group stage. It could have been if one game shift for each of the teams. It could have been all Korea in the semis. Like
I still think China was better.
I mean, by a very slight margin, honestly. I think they looked a lot better in the best of 3s, but I genuinely think Genji was the worst one to go to the semis. I think they were the worst.
I don't know what happened. They played pretty well.
Genji does not work out well against this playstyle.
It's just Rascal. If they had a strong top laner, they would be better.
I don't disagree with that, but it's just relevant.
Oh, right Ruler completely flopped. I don't know what happened to him.
Saying all around. Well, I mean, yeah. They're not going to look good against these Chinese players. I don't think Genji has the play style to match them yet. I think maybe towards the later half of the season, they'll probably pick it up a little bit more because SKT looks like they're going to be ramping up the speed of their play style, and that's going to help develop the rest of the region. But that's just that's all hypothetical if they keep playing like this.
It's Damwon. Oh my god, Damwon just breaks my heart every single time I watch them play.
I mean, they beat somebody.
They beat T1.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't beat a Chinese team, but they beat somebody.
They sure made it so SKT can't leave.
Yeah, if they did not beat T1, they would have been out of groups.
A game they were actually winning.
Actually, no, they would have been in a tiebreaker, wouldn't they have?
Yeah, if Damwon's like, if I can't make it out, you're not making it out either. Oh, Damwon. I told people, Damwon's is super uncoordinated. They don't know what they're doing. One person is doing one thing. You have freaking Naguri's always playing up. Then you have Canyon trying to babysit Showmaker, so he can't go to bot lane. Then the bot lane is like...
Hold on. I don't know what just threw in the middle of that with the baby. Showmaker does not get babysat. Showmaker.
Oh no, sorry, babysitting Naguri. Sorry, babysits Naguri.
He does babysit Naguri, but that's just because Naguri is one of the most volatile players in the league, and if he gets ahead, he's one of the best assets you can have, and if he's behind, he's literally one of the worst at. Like it's so flip flop for him. You need to have him ahead. You need to give him strong side. You need to have him not behind in the what's it called? I'd like to see a matchup between him and the Shy because they're the most inconsistent players in the world, and I like.
But then they're so world class when they're on. Like they're so good when they're on.
Okay, yeah, but the Showmaker is incredible. I think Showmaker was really good at this tournament. I think he looked really good against a lot of the players, but it's just, I mean, the players he matched up against were pretty incredible.
Oh, right. So what other... Oh, yeah, I forgot. JDG finally... FPX finally beat JDG when it mattered. I was like...
It was going to happen. I mean, again, the FPX that JDG faced in the semis was not the FPX everybody saw before. They tried to swap their playstyle to what they thought would be more effective against JDG, when in reality it was substantially beneficial to JDG. I don't think JDG is going to consistently beat FPX. I do think FPX is the better team out of the two. I think next time we see them match up in like the playoffs, they're going to get 3-0'd.
I think they genuinely have most of the better players.
JDG does. JDG has the better players than pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter. JDG does not, even though I think that FPX's playstyle was nerfed into the ground, I still think they're going to completely stomp JDG next time we see him because they're still faster paced, and that's what benefits this meta. And I think that even with the good players, they don't team fight as well as you would think they would. Like their play style comes down to just pure mechanics, but their
play style is Zoom. That's their play style. It's Zoom.
They have good players all around, dude. Everything one of their players is world class almost. Like,
it was really well. It was nice to finally see Top win because Top is always a team that's always close but never actually wins. It's finally good to see them finally win something.
I mean, they got one more player piece on this team that I think they were missing, which was a solid ADC. And once they got that, I think they had. I mean, I honestly put them at the top.
Oh yeah, like someone said, I think Top is the best team at the tournament. I was like, really? Maybe.
I said I put them at the number one in China the moment they put Jackie Love on the team. And I still think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to be the best team in China because, again, their playstyle was already pretty much better than JDG's in general. They just didn't have the players to match up. And I think later on down the line, it's going to be FPX versus JDG in the finals.
Right. So we got LCS. What other LCS teams have we not talked about? So we talked about TSM. Talked about...
I wanted us to talk about FlyQuest.
Oh, Ryan wants to talk about FlyQuest. Okay, so there's two different ways to talk about FlyQuest. Do we think that their second place finish was a fluke? And can they do it again? Because that's what most people have been talking about, like on Reddit, is that can FlyQuest do it again? Can they get to the finals again? I mean...
Who's their top laner again?
Solo. I think, unpopular opinion, guys, I don't think Solo played that well. I don't think he played that well, honestly.
I think Solo is a superstar. No one's ever thought that. He's never been a superstar. They need, like, it's not like Viper demanded resources, but he was also completely trash. Like, he looked really bad this season. And I think you can develop him. I really do think he has a potential. I'd rather see him on Cloud9. Maybe he can develop from there because they have a tendency to develop players.
They have a tendency to recycle players that are considered bad.
Yeah, I mean, every player they get from another team, they usually turn out to be a solid player. But I think my all around, I think Santorin played really well during the season. I just think he was completely terrible in the playoffs, which was really disappointing. I think that with the change of Solo in the top lane, I think they're going to have, at the very least, even though they don't have a better top laner, they have a more consistent one. Again, Power of Evil still, towards the end of the season, was the best mid laner. In my opinion, I still think he was one of the best mid laners in the league. I think he's probably going to be the best one next play.
Good. Ignar, who was the second best support.
Yeah, again, Ignar's second best support, and Wild Turtle actually looked solid in a lot of games, which is surprising to me.
If you're saying Wild Turtle looks solid, we got a problem there because that's
he wouldn't match up well against internationally, but he's looked really solid in the NA scene. I mean, he's really developed as a player all around. But I think my big
they have a weak. Okay, so Santorin doesn't gank for top, so you know Soul's going to be on an island. So
he doesn't need to be. ganking top anyways, even though that's the meta is gank top or bot. That's just what the meta is.
But Santorin doesn't gank in general. He's anti-ganks, period.
I've never heard anybody say that besides you. I don't agree with that. I don't think that is a very good identifying thing for his playstyle.
I'm not saying he's bad, but like I wouldn't say he doesn't apply pressure as much.
It was just a playoff centric thing. Like he literally played like trash in the playoffs. He was one of the worst junglers in the playoffs. And I don't think that's usually his playstyle. I think he plays a lot better usually. So I expect a little more from him next time.
I think that FlyQuest could possibly make it to Worlds. Like, it's very possible that they could.
I don't disagree. I really do think they have the roster to be able to make it. I really, like, honestly, this might be the second place team, depending on how well TSM melts together. Like,
all right,
they have the players to match up. I think their weak side is going to be top side, obviously. And if they make it to Worlds, they're going to get completely stomped. But, like, they have to even get there. They are going to get stomped. Like, they just don't have any strong players on this team besides Power Evil and Ignar.
Yeah, I mean,
not compete internationally.
Wild Turtle's gonna have. I don't know how this man would possibly stack up against like Jackie Love. Oh my lord, Doublelift could barely hold off Jackie Love. You think? No, Wild Turtle definitely can't do it.
Let's not pretend that Doublelift did a good job holding him off.
Like if Reckless and Doublelift can't hold back Jackie Love of all people, then Wild Turtle definitely can't hold back Jackie Love.
No, you're not understanding because apparently Reckless was better than Jackie Love in 2018, which is
by what metric? Did anybody watch the LPL? IG was like the best team on the planet.
We're basing it off the fact that, first of all,
people are stupid.
No. They're basing it off of his play in the finals every single season, or whenever they placed RNG at both splits. That's the games they watched. On top of the fact they're basing it off the how the games that IG lost were off the back of Jackie Love, and they don't look at the rest of the game. They don't look at the rest of the games. And I think that's pretty incredible to me that people consistently say that Jackie Love is not as good as Reckless, because Reckless also doesn't compete internationally, in my opinion, in comparison to most of them.
That's debatable. I'm not gonna let that's.
Let's toss up ADCs that you think he can compete with Ruler.
Blade Gunner, what's up, dude?
No.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, let's do that. Can he compete with Ruler? Can you hear?
Both of them play kind of similar.
Okay,
Ruler can be flexible. Ruler can play more.
It's incredible. If you think he's as good as Ruler, I just want to stop.
No. Like I think on specific picks, maybe.
Okay, that's fine with me then. I don't want to do any more of that.
Well, so what if was Reckless better than Forgiven in 2016? Because people said that to me too. I was like, are you high?
No, Reckless was definitely not better than Forgiven then.
Yeah. So like, I mean, competing internationally, like, what metric are you saying that by teams he's faced? Because, like...
Okay, so let's point it out. If you have to put them in the same as let's put them on the exact same team. Like, let's make a blank team. Who do you think is going to succeed more out of the two? That's what you should define it by. I think
if we're going by just team, like Top and Fnatic now, and Top definitely has the better chances of succeeding.
So let's look at Korea. Korea is going to send 3 teams probably that all have better ADCs than Reckless. Substantial. Mm-hmm. They're going to send Deft, Ruler, and Teddy. And I don't think he can compete with any of them.
Holy moly.
China is going to send Jackie Love.
He played pretty well against Teddy last year.
I don't know about that.
Whatever. He survived. We'll say he survived. I just say he won.
All around, I think he can compete with like the likes of Ghost and stuff, but I just think that's the best he can do. I mean, Ghost probably isn't going to make it Worlds, though. Like, there are a few ADCs to compete with. I think he would be middle of the pack in some of these regions. I don't think he would be middle of the pack in China, though. All around, I just think I don't know why we got to Reckless. How did we get to Reckless?
Oh my goodness, I don't know how, but yeah, maybe FlyQuest could be the 3rd place team. I don't know. I really don't know. Like the LCS is such a toss up. But now,
what
we have Dignitas, who is a cluster mess of people. Like we could have a roster of maybe Dardoch, Viper, Acadian, someone. They could have an Academy mid laner. I don't know what Dig is doing. A lot of people are predicting Dig.
Their roster, in my opinion, is going to be. It's going to be who the top laner is Viper now, correct?
Yeah.
Viper. I think it's going to be Dardoch, in my opinion. Then it's going to be Frog and Johnson. You don't replace these 3 people. These 3 people are going to be consistent. I don't think anybody is going to replace them. I think it's going to be Dardoch for most of. I actually think for the most part, I do think it's possible that this team does pretty well, depending on how well Dardoch bounces back because he's not getting held back by TSM because they're trash. I think it's very possible this team actually does pretty well. They have a lot of pieces. They just
Viper, Dardoch, Froggen, Johnson, Afro.
Their biggest problem was the early game aggression that was stifled by Froggen's playstyle, and I don't think that's going to be a big problem because Dardoch is an early game facilitator. That's literally how he plays the game. He shot calls the early game and then swaps off to a secondary shot caller later half of the game. I think that's how it's going to happen. I think we're going to have a better team all around. It's all going to depend on whether or not Dardoch plays better than he did last split. I think he is definitely going to, though. I think this is probably a top 5 team at the very least. And what their success is going to be defined by whether or not, how well these players do it together.
It's just like, I don't know about Dignitas because like last split, it was like people knew they weren't going to work because Huni, Froggen, and Afro all want to play the game differently. And that showed in a lot of their games too. But Afro wasn't really the big pivotal point about how they played anyway. So is Dardoch is that really going to change? Because Dardoch wants to play the game differently than Froggen does too.
Okay, we could take 3 seconds to say CLG is going to be last again. Yeah, that's fine.
Are we going to do that? Like, is CLG going to be last? I don't know about that.
Tell me a team. Point out a team real quick. Point out a team. You say, man, this team might actually be worse than CLG.
100 Thieves.
No.
TS. Damn one.
Damn one could possibly be worse than them, but that's just because they're so hit or miss.
I don't know. Is CLG gonna be last again? Ryan, you're asking the good questions here. I
think of a team that's worse than them. I would be.
IMT.
IMT. Mm-hmm. No, IMT was a lot.
Their roster stunk. That roster's horrible.
It was better than CLG, and that was not even really in the debate.
But the smallest of margins, maybe.
Not even a small margin. Like they genuinely did stuff in the early game. They had a better, I'm gonna be real. SOAS is probably better than everybody on that team, and I'm
not denying that.
It's not done. You can't deny it. And Xmithy also was. Alltech played better than all of them too, and so did maybe Hakuo.
Apollo played pretty well too.
Yeah, Apollo. I don't know. Alltech and Hog. Yeah, they replaced them. But again, I think the big thing about this is, I think there is nobody that I think CLG can take a spot from. I still think they're gonna get last place. And I don't think it's really up for debate. They haven't swapped any of their players. They haven't really made any changes. They didn't seem like they were making progress in the later half of the season. I can't see a way they make it.
Even with Pobelter, it just seemed like they got stacked. Like
they were with Pobelter, but that was about the limitation. Pobelter always looks worse in the summer split. I want to point out. I don't think I've ever seen a season where he's done solidly in the summer split.
I don't know. Could it be? I could see IMT getting 10th. Honestly,
I could see IMT getting 9th. I'm 90% sure it's going to be CLG getting 10th. I don't see they made no progress. I
think CLG with Pobelter as a better mid laner than Aka.
That's only one place they win in. Literally,
but mid is how you win. Mid is how you win, though.
It doesn't. I don't think so. I think jungle is how you win. I think that's been the defined play style for the past 3 seasons, and it's really not something they don't shine in that. They both suck at mid jungle, to be fair. I think it's the better of the two, though. But
I could see IMT getting 10th. They're horrible. They're not just as bad as CLG, but I could see them getting 10th. If they got 10th place, I would not be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either, but I'm really sure it's gonna be CLG. But I think whatever team we were on before was a lot more interesting than these two. So.
Dignitas.
I think Dignitas has a lot of potential. I really do think they could make it to the top 5 easily.
This man is crazy.
Okay, I will point out a few things that
I will. He always does that. Every time I say something, I'm going to point out everything you're wrong about, and then I want nothing.
You're not wrong. Okay, whatever. So let's think about it. What was the big problem that Dignitas had? What was their biggest problem? You would say
early game stunk. Their macro game objective control.
I'm not saying everything. I'm just saying their biggest problem was early game aggression. Correct?
Yeah, they had none. They almost had 0.
So what I think is the change in this is the fact that they actually got an early game, regardless of how you feel about Dardoch, if you think he's trash or not, he's definitely proactive in the early game. That is just the situation. That's the way he plays the game. Whether he's good at it or not, I'm really not gonna say right now. I'm like the situation, like he is an early game jungler that pretty much shot calls the early game and then transitions the shot calling role into somebody else later, like the later half of the game. And I think that is going to be a big step up for them, regardless of what they did at the end of the season last split. I think they have more, like, even if Dardoch is somehow worse than Acadian, which he's not, I don't think he's not worth Acadian.
That's turning into the jungle Kickus situation we're going to have eventually, with Dardoch taking Acadian's place on every single team.
It's happened like once.
No. Wait, did it happen once? No, it happened on Echo Fox too, remember?
Well, I mean, I don't really think you replaced him then, though.
Oh, no. It was Acadian, then Dardoch. And this is Acadian, then Dardoch.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, I think the big thing about it, first off, is the fact that I think Dardoch is going to push the pace of the early game, which Froggen, with the playstyle he has himself, stifles the early game aggression anybody makes. He tries to force the game into mid-game, into a like mid to late game power spike, and that's just how Froggen pushes the game.
So you think their highest ceiling is like 5th?
I think their highest ceiling is 3rd. I'm be real with you. Like I think everything works out perfectly. Everything is perfect. That's all I can say. I think they could make it to Worlds, and that's not probably going to happen, but it's possible. I mean, I think it's a possibility at the very least.
I could see them being like a 5th place team fighting for a playoff spot.
Fighting for playoffs when playoffs is 8th? Yeah.
I was trying to throw like subtle
place, man.
Okay, so let's dig FlyQuest, IMT, Golden Guardians. Golden Guardians, they did upgrade by grabbing Demonte. They did do that.
I do agree. I think Demonte is a big step up from Golden Glue. Even though I like Golden Glue as a person, he's not been looking good at all. He was probably one of the worst mid laners.
He was like, what, the 8th best mid laner? Oh. And that was his best split. That was his best split, was last split, and he was the 8th best mid. That's horrible. That's oof, holy crap. Because back then he was getting replaced by Piglet mid. I was like, oh lord, oh my god.
So Golden Guardians is gonna have one of the better junglers in the league, a pretty solid top laner, and a
pretty solid mid,
and a pretty trash bot lane. I think FBI Keith, FBI whatever they're gonna be running now.
FBI Huhi,
sorry. Is it's not gonna be good. I don't think that's gonna work out. I think they're probably gonna get 8th place. They're gonna be
solid 8th place team.
Like they could work out and they could just tear it up and go straight to 7th place. Who knows?
I think they have a better opposition to work with than Dignitas do. I think they could be stronger than Dig.
You think if both of them worked out perfectly and they fulfilled their potential, you think they can?
Okay, I'm just trolling.
No, I want to know. Like, do you think this team has more potential than Dig? I think they could beat Dig. Like
by a synergy thing. I don't think it's by player by player.
I think synergy wise, TSM could literally get 9th place because they just don't make sense to me. Like, who knows? I mean,
Lord.
I mean, who knows? I mean, it all comes down to synergy. This game is a mental game at the end of the day. And synergy is the biggest factor in whether or not your team succeeds. So I agree with that. It doesn't matter about potential. It doesn't matter how well their team looks roster-wise. If they don't function as a team very well, they're not going to succeed.
And Dig is known for literally like nothing. Like Dig is maybe a pseudo TSM. Like things go well for a little bit, and all of a sudden it just turns into shit.
Literally existed for a split now.
I mean, like, if you're talking about past Dig, too, it happens.
That's not even the same. Like, they're literally just digging name. They're not even the same.
You're just digging the name. Oh, my God. It's making puns everywhere.
Oh, it's a pun. Okay, whatever. This is Dig in pretty much anything, like, in nothing but name. Like, this is pretty much Clutch Gaming. The Clutch Gaming that you saw this is the exact same stuff.
I could see them getting 7th or 8th. I think that's their ceiling.
I think they could do slightly better at the very
6th place.
6th place is this. I really think it's going to be 7th at the max, but 6th place, if they did make it, it's possible.
I think they're fighting with the 100 Thieves, Dig, and 100 Thieves, Dig, and maybe
I think 100 Thieves beat them out just purely on stupid
Players alone, just someday alone.
On someday and like Cody's son.
Yeah.
And then Ryoma kind of brings them back down, but still. I think.
Oh, and time to transition to 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves, the team we first talked about on this channel. I don't know what they are looking like now. They look like a cluster mess of someday carries them or I just stink. That's what they've turned into. They're a someday team.
Okay,
that's what they are.
The history of 100 Thieves as a team, when they had Prolly, they didn't play around 100 Thieves. They didn't play around Someday when he was in his prime, but Someday literally forced them to. That Prolly would throw him on like at Worlds when the thing was defined by solo lane power and stuff like that. They throw their best solo lane, the best player in general, on a tank constantly, and that was the big problem that I think I had with how they exploit, like how they use their best player. Later on down the line, when they replaced him, they started throwing Someday on like better picks and stuff. Like I genuinely think, just picks wise, I think Zix and all the like pretty much what the coaching staff has done a better job at defining what they think Someday should be doing for the team. But at the same time, I still think all around they just don't have the players to be able to compete for a top spot. Like Cody's son, again, has no ability to play anything but team fights, and that's just what he does. He loses every lane.
He loses every lane, but he loses gracefully, and he doesn't exactly...
I disagree with that. I saw him against, I can't remember against what lane it was. Maybe it was against Double Lift and Core JJ. It doesn't matter about that, though. In CS against the Sona Tark, which doesn't happen. You can't do that. That's not possible. Like, that is literally the single worst lane in the game, like laning-wise, and they somehow lost to that. Like, I don't see how that happened. He's the worst laner we probably have in the LCS in terms of just ADC lanings.
I mean, you're factoring that in by like a pick like Kaisa and Zaya. Like,
no. You know, you can't lose anybody. I could literally go in with an ADC Thresh and beat Zaya. I mean, Atar Sona, because their inability to fight ranged. All their harass comes from Sona. Sona is pretty much all the harass. Tark has no ability to do anything but sit there and shield and heal, and he can't heal consistently, because to heal with Tarek you have to get autos off, and if you get autos off, you're pushing the lane, so you can't do that. Like, that's the problem with Tarek.
He's not a main focal carry of them. He's like a Jackie Love IG from back then. He's a secondary carry, and he likes to be self-sufficient. So you have to give him a self-sufficient ADC.
It's okay to be the secondary carry and be bad. It's not okay to be the second best player on the team and be moderately good. Like, their team just doesn't have any other players that are solid, in my opinion. I think their mid lane is probably, you think, the worst? No, the second worst. I'd say, I think it all.
Their mid laner is definitely the second worst, because there's nothing worse than Aka.
Aka is probably the worst.
And then there's Crown, if Crown existed.
I think all around, I just don't see any potential. This team doesn't have much potential. I mean, their side lanes are their strong points of their team. Their jungler's not very strong. Their mid laner's terrible.
Like, I told you, starting Meteos did not look that good, and he transitioned to not look that good.
He looked really good in the previous season. I don't agree with that in the slightest. I think he looked really solid, and we both agreed on that. What are you trying to tell me?
No. I'm not saying about the last. I'm talking about this season alone.
Last split, I think he was like the 6th best jungler, maybe.
I mean, but people compare him to like a good, solid jungler that we saw on those previous teams.
Again, let's point out the fact that, who did he really like? It's hard for a jungler to succeed when you don't have the
winning lanes
to do much. Like, every single one of his lanes loses every single game besides Someday. And Someday, you can't always focus top lane because the other teams are going to fall. The other lanes are going to fall too far behind. You can't skirmish and compete for objectives in the jungle or the river or anything, because your team is going to be pushed in and not be able to help you in time. Like, I'm not going to give too much slack to Meteos. I think the team itself is hindering him from.
I mean, you can the first game of the split, he was getting beaten by Closer, and then right then and there, people were like,
"Okay, Closer looked incredible this split." So I don't think it's fair to say. I think Closer was probably maybe the best jungler in the league this season. I don't even think maybe. I do think he was the best jungler in the league. I think
Blabberfish over Closer.
No one agrees with that besides you. No one thinks that's actually
the whole world agrees with me. That's
Blabber was not better. Blabber was a beneficiary of a good playstyle that benefits the jungler. Like, okay. he was inside of skirmishes that were happening and was benefiting from them. Again, it's a good thing he was there. but I think it came down to good communication as to why he was always there on time.
All right, so we talked about every team except for the three main heavy hitters. So for me personally, to round it off for 100 Thieves, they're just a someday team. They're like what TL was before. If they don't play through someday, then they lose. That's just all they are.
What Thieves was besides the actually moderately okay mid laner they had before.
Yeah, like they're just the same thing. Like they didn't really change anything. They don't really play fast. They don't really do anything. It's like if somebody's not on a carry pick, they just don't look good at all. And if somebody's playing a tank, I mean, you better hope Ryoma can carry you. He had one carry performance all split long. That was one playoff game where he beat Bjergsen. In his one game, yeah, god damn. Next team is let's talk about Team Liquid. Team Liquid, spicy one. Team Liquid.
Okay, so and again, I think it all comes down to the fact that I think with the previous split, I think that Core JJ did not look as solid as they did before. So it's really their best player is Core JJ when everybody's on point. I think that if Core JJ does not bounce back from the funk that he had the previous season, their early game aggression is not going to be it's not going to exist still. So they're not going to be a good team. Like Doublelift really stifled, in my opinion, the way Core JJ actually plays. Even though I think he succeeded on that team, like Core JJ. If Doublelift is behind, he's forced to go back to Doublelift. If Doublelift is behind, he's not useful. Like in comparison, like Cody's son, who is always useful when he's behind. Doublelift is not very useful when he's behind, so you had to sit in lane more often than you would with any other ADC because he's pretty much one of the main pieces of your team. He wasn't able to roam as often. I think with tactical, with the reason they were able to succeed so often with him is because of the fact that he doesn't require so much attention from Core JJ, which allows him to roam around the map more effectively with Broxa. And I think that could genuinely just be such a good thing for this team. I think swapping out Doublelift might be, but it might be good for both TSM and Team Liquid. Like,
well, you're factoring in this is Jat's first split as a head coach, and this is a big stepping stone for, like, I think League in general is having, like, analysts become casters like it happens in traditional sports. So if Jats works out, then we could see more casters do it, which I think is a good thing.
There's only two casters, in my opinion, that honestly seem like they could take on a coaching role. And I think you already know.
Deficio is one of them?
Deficio,
but he went to work in Origin, so that's a little bit different, though.
Deficio and Jad. I think everybody else doesn't have either the player skills or the understanding of the game. Like LS.
Well, Papa Smithy.
Papa Smithy doesn't. I don't really.
I don't know. He's a general manager. That does not count because that's not
solid too. I'm just saying LS would do a terrible job because he doesn't have the people skills to be able to run as a coach.
No.
He has a very good understanding of.
No. He has hypothetical understanding of stuff.
No. He is so good. Like his understanding of the game is so good. It's like he has.
But it's based in hypotheticals, though.
It's not even like he genuinely has such a good grasp of the game, but he's so bad at communicating. He's so bad with being able to take criticism. He's so bad at all these things that are required from somebody who's going to be in a leadership role that I don't think he could ever do it. I don't think that could ever happen. And again, I that's my big thing about that. So, I mean, again, I think Jet's going to do a good job. I think Jet has a lot of good qualities. He really does. He's one of the best analysts out there.
And the players respect him. And I think that's a big thing because in traditional sports, if your players don't respect your coach, they don't listen.
So, I mean, I think Team Liquid could do pretty solid here. I think, first of all,
I think they could get third place. I think they could get third place.
I think they're going to get third place. I think they're the most likely team to get third place.
Because you still have Impact, Broxa, Jensen, and Core JJ. Even if you have, what's his name, Tactical, I think they still have a strong core of players. Then you still have, like, they all had their first bad split in a while. Like, Impact usually is not that bad.
Broxa, incredible last split. I mean,
we know Broxa's not that bad. Broxa's still, like, even when Fnatic was failing last year, Fnatic, like, Broxa wasn't their worst player by any means. And then you have Core JJ, who was literally the superstar of NA last split. So it's like, I don't think they're bad. I think that last split was an anomaly because Doublelift made them all go insane by him not trying, and I think they're going to want to prove to him that they're so good without him.
Obnoxious thing I've ever seen in my life is when Doublelift really no one bounces back mentally in one specific week from I don't feel motivated to now I'm motivated and we're good to go. Like that doesn't happen. That's not a possibility. He didn't want to be there anymore because he talked to his girlfriend. And he, like, I don't think it's that very controversial, is it? You think this is controversial?
No. Keep going. Let just reply to me.
Okay.
Sorry.
So
Yeah. Just keep talking. I'm listening. Just 1 second.
you don't have to listen. I don't care about that. I'm saying all around, I think the big thing about it is that he probably talked to his girlfriend, saw what he thought was a better situation where TSM was at, and he wanted to spend more time with his girlfriend. So again, he didn't not try, but he was less motivated because he wanted to be there instead. And I think that was the situation, what it ended up being because of the fact, because of that fact. My big problem, again, I think all around I have with this Team Liquid team, first of all, is they did lose a lot of firepower with losing Double Lift. Again, I think all around their playstyle benefits by swapping out tactical and Double Lift because you're going to have a more efficient early game because there's not going to be as much attention demanded in the bot lane. But at the same time, you're not going to have as good a player. Like Double Lift is a better player than tactical. I don't like even the small amount of games we saw. I still think that's probably the case. I could be wrong, but like I think if we want to see Team Liquid succeed on the international stage, it's all going to come down to whether or not, like, first of all, how well everybody bounces back, because that is just going to be the defining point. Because they all sucked last split. They're all trash, dude. Like any of them good? Like none of them were good. Like you can't even say Brox was that solid. Like Brox was just average. Like none of them were good last split, and not even just that. It's all going to come down to Core JJ and Jat. I think those are good. Jat is going to have to define the team's play style. And Core JJ is the pushing momentum that they're going to have in the early game. And these are going to be whether or not, like, if we want to succeed, if they want to succeed as a team, that's what we're going to have to see.
I think if they want to also succeed, they're going to actually have to find a play style because last split when they still try to do playing through Double Lift, and that just like the problem with Double Lift what I had was that when he wanted to get motivated and try, they already gave up on him. Like, I think it was selfish that he wanted them to try when he literally gave up 5 weeks in. Like, that's not fair to them. They're like, well, we were hardcore grinding and you didn't care. And then now it's like, you care now, but we don't care anymore about you.
Okay, so let's point out, I'm not going to give them too much sympathy because Impact was just completely terrible at the beginning of the season and never improved. Impact was never good during the season. Jensen was the only one that I could feel sorry for because he was consistently playing well. Core JJ also might be slightly I feel sorry for because, again, like he genuinely had to lane with Double Lift, who was probably one of the worst ADCs in the league at the beginning of the season. Like I feel sorry for a few of them. Impact I have no pity for. And Surenfire really just got the short end of the stick because no one really attempted to play around him. He was just forced to play on his own. Like, so I don't know if I would give up on Surenfire completely yet, but like there were so many weak points to that team, and it all centralized around probably a weak mentality that was coming because of the fact that Double Lift he was demotivating everybody. I think this team, again, I don't think they're going to bounce back too hard. I don't think they're going to be the best team in the league, but I think they have potential to make it to third. I don't think they're going to beat TSM on their good days, but they could. I mean, I don't know who's going to be the better team at the end of the day.
You have Jat, you have them having Tactical. I think Tactical is okay. I think he's good.
No. First of all, Spica is just trash. Surenfire showed potential. Surenfire actually, I hate Spica. I genuinely think Spica, I genuinely think Surenfire showed potential, and he had a lot of good moments where I either wasn't followed up by the team or genuinely he just made mistakes. And I really, again, I think Surenfire could do solid on a different team. I think Spica could never do solid on a team because I don't think he showed me any potential. Even when he was thrust into the limelight, I still think he looked like I think that's too much of an excuse. Like I think that maybe it's because of TSM because TSM trashes junglers, but I still don't believe in Spica. Like I don't know. I don't want to say Spica treatment because I don't think that was the treatment that was making him bad. You want to go to a different team, or you want to keep talking about Team Liquid?
It's hard to say, like, there's a world in which this doesn't work either, and maybe Double F was right, maybe it is the coaching staff, maybe it was true, but the thing is that they were all mentally done with him, and I don't think it was Jensen or Impact or Broxa. No, I think it was just Core JJ. I think it was just him, because Koreans have a hardcore work-related mentality, and his partner just gave up on him. Like, cool. I mean,
what is cool?
You know how You know how they had you know how Koreans have a strict work regimen where they always want to work. His partner literally gave up on him. Like, how did people expect him to feel? No one's taking this from his perspective. Like, it's like, I don't know.
I don't think it was just Core JJ. I think a lot of them looked done with him, and a lot of the. This is just I have no proof on it. It's just my interpretation of what was going on. I do think a few more of them gave up on him.
But why wouldn't they though? Like he straight up sacked them for like 4 weeks.
Definitely was the most Impact is definitely the most impacted by what's his name? By Doublelift. I think also Broxa is not going to say it, but I don't think he was appreciating him coming over and having a team that was already mentally done by the time he got there. Jensen, maybe not. Maybe Jensen wasn't upset. I do think he was slightly upset at the very least.
Jensen had to deal with Sneaky and bad play for a couple splits, so he's definitely not going to have an ADC playing bad. He left for TL for stronger players, and then the superstar gave up.
And then the superstars gave up, yeah.
Good lord.
So
that was not Brox's fault, though. Like, Broxa just came into a bad situation. That's why I said when people judge him, Broxa's literally better than Nick Smithy. Like, they make the right decision by getting Broxa. I think Broxa will shine better this split.
We'll see what happens. I mean,
because like Broxa's been doing well internationally, and that's something Nick Smithy can't say. 2 MSI finishes finals where he got like blasted. I mean, come on, like
his first MSI finish. I will agree on CLG. I don't think he looked bad, besides on a few picks. But for the most part, I think he was pretty solid. His second stint in MSI, I don't think he was good at all. I don't think he looked good when he went on Team Liquid. Like, I think it was not. It didn't seem like he belonged there.
This man literally was getting beaten by Ning, and Ning is not even considered a world-class jungler.
Ning is definitely considered world-class. Just only
if you're on crack.
Every other day, Ning is world-class.
No, he's going into games being 2-16 on Elise. How's that world-class? I could do that.
You could not do that. You would not even get 2 kills. Let's be honest.
All right, so we have we talked about everyone. Oh my, I don't want to talk about this team. We'll glance over them. IMT.
I don't want to talk about them, really.
All right, so the next team is Evil Geniuses. What do you think about them?
We already talked about IMT, remember? That was the...
Oh yeah, you're right. EG.
We have not talked about...
it was EG. We talked about every single person except for EG.
Maybe like... We kind of talked about Cloud9, so I'm good with that.
They have the best players in mostly every single position. They're fine. They're going to win the... hot take, guys. They're going to win the next split. Like, if you think anybody else is, you're actually high. You're actually trolling me. Tell me that.
Let's go to Evil Geniuses because he's gonna get on hard on.
I'm just saying. Like, if teams aren't willing to scrim against you, that's saying something. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the addition to this bot lane, no one's ever gonna beat them. But I want to point out, Evil Geniuses, they got Huni, who I don't know if that's gonna be an upgrade or not. It didn't look like one this split.
Man, 0-7 Mordekaiser games. That's an upgrade.
Jizuke, I can't say it. Looked really solid at the end of the season. I don't think he looked good at all in the playoffs.
He looked better than Bjergsen for a majority of the split. That was crazy.
In the playoffs, he looked pretty trash, though. I mean, he had a few good steals. But that last series against FlyQuest, he just got dumpstered. Spence Garen looks pretty solid. I think he started off a bit shaky, but he turned it on later on. And the bot lane is the big problem with this. Like, Huni has to bounce back because this bot lane, regardless of who they play, is not going to look good. Like, because Bang, I don't think Bang's going to be here. Like, Bang, they have 3 imports if Huni comes on this team. If they don't play Huni, they still have Kumo, which means that there's no potential for this top lane to do well unless... Actually, I won't say that. Kumo looked really good in Academy, so I'll give him some more time. Like, I don't...
There you go. Looked good in Academy. There you go, right there. Look good in Academy. This is the LCS we're talking. This is the big leagues.
Okay, it's not just about the players he plays against. This is about how well he plays. I mean,
you said that about Piglet.
Piglet played well in the... I don't care what you say. Piglet played well in the LCS when he came. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh, my God. No. Okay, so EG... I don't know. They looked bad for a lot of the weeks. People look at their end result, but they look pretty bad in their
last half of the season. They looked pretty solid. I think, first of all, we don't know who the roster is going to be. That's the big thing as to why I can't define whether or not going to be good. Because
we can guarantee it's Zeyzal and Svenskeren. We can guarantee pretty much that.
Zeyzal, Svenskeren, and Jizuke. I think Jizuke is definitely going to play.
So that leaves 2 imports. No, Svenskeren's not an import. Ooh.
So we have an import slot left, and we have 2 imports. So who's out of the 2? I would pick Bang. Looked really solid last split.
Bang actually was like the top. I think it was the third best ADC.
Yeah, why would you put Huni into a team that I think was functioning pretty well towards the later half of the split?
Because Huni and Bang won 2017 MSI with SKT, so you recreate that synergy in an NA form.
So you're saying who is they going to put in mid then? Because we don't have any mid laners in NA to replace him with. Demonte's already gone, so now you're like stuck with Golden Glue. We can put Golden Glue on that team.
And then have him play one split and then kick.
Huhi from the support role on whatever that team's name is. We do that. There's a few things they could do. There really isn't. They just don't have a choice. They have to keep Chizuke because there's no mid laners to replace him with. And then it's going to come down to who would you rather play? Would you rather keep the same roster you ran last split, or would you rather switch something up and hope something else pops out?
Because they got third. Like, is that bad for their first split?
I mean, they got fourth at the end of the split.
Oh, fourth. Yeah.
Well, no, they got third. What am I saying?
They got good Lord. I can't take.
I don't know why I thought TSM finished ahead of them for some reason.
Oh yeah, most people thought that. Most people would.
I keep forgetting about that. TSM did not finish ahead of them. I do have a problem with this team. I think their solutions to like their problems last split, if they replace, like maybe Bang just doesn't want to be here anymore. It's possible. Maybe Bang's just not happy with the situation he's in right now.
I mean, he literally says solo queue is worthless, so he's definitely not happy here.
Well, everybody says that. I mean, I've seen professional like native NA players say that. They go to like the other regions, they're like, man, this is so much better than NA. But like it all comes down to the fact that like I don't see, regardless who they switch, like I think they should keep Bang, and I don't think they should put Huni on this team. I think Huni is not an answer to anything. He's looked pretty terrible recently.
If he does not succeed here, he is done. I don't think there's a really why would you pay out a contract that big for a 8th place top laner?
It was, I mean, 8th place is generous, man. There was not many, but like there's Rulin that was worse than him, and then like who could you definitely say what was worse than after that? Like who's maybe Kumo. Maybe
who's worse?
Yeah, maybe replacing the 9th best
Viper.
Oh, you know what? That is possible.
Impact played really bad.
Okay, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he was the 6th best top laner. I keep forgetting that Impact was trash this split. You're right. But I really, it's hard for me to say. I think they're not replacing a top laner. Like I do think Kuma was one of their weakest roles, but at the same time, they're not replacing him with somebody I in my opinion is better. They're not replacing their weakest point with a better player. They're replacing him with somebody who's maybe slightly better at the most, and they being forced to get rid of one of their strongest points. Like they're either getting rid of Jizuke or what's his name? Or Bang if he comes onto the team. And I don't think that's a good choice.
Who's their academy? I'm trying to see who's Evil Genius's academy mid laner.
Evil Genius's academy mid laner is Korean kid in Five Fire. And I don't know enough about academy. I don't watch it. I'm be real with you. I don't pay attention to that. He could literally be Faker and I still wouldn't know because I don't pay attention to it. But for the most part, I think like if they were Faker, they would have been brought up already because, like, it's not like Jizuke started off hot at all. He looked pretty trash at the beginning of the season. And, like, I think the most likely situation is that Evil Geniuses gets rid of the ADC and they're going to pick up Deft. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. And this team is going to be substantially worse because Deathly is not Deathly. I need to not say Deft. That's a different situation. Deft is not very good. I think he had 2 good seasons, honestly, when I think he was back in the day. And then he's looked really poor, like, in the previous, like, recent seasons. And that's why I don't think, like, if they change out Bang, they don't look like a good team. If they change out anybody for Huni, they don't look like a good team. Like, you can't replace the imports because he's not better than either one of them. He doesn't fix their play style, even though I think Top is probably one of the most impactful, like, probably the third most impactful role right now. I don't think it's useful for him. You know what? Top isn't even that impactful. It's probably the 4th most impactful. Like, I genuinely don't see a reason why you would replace a more impactful role with somebody who is genuinely worse than them. Like, who do you think they should replace?
I don't know. Like, it's hard to say because Bang's play wasn't like underwhelming or bad.
If you're going to replace anybody, Kumo would be a decent choice, but not with an import. And I 100% think Zazel should be gone. I think you replace Zazel from this team. You have
to get who? Get Matt? Matt's on their academy team.
I don't know. I mean, I really can't think of anybody. Maybe
Matt is on their academy team.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know then. I have no solution to this. You just there's no player in the support scene that I think is better than him.
By
Maybe
JJ.
no.
Ole?
There's no solution to this. Like honestly, they're doing what they can. They know they have to switch something, so they're making a drastic change, which is not going to pan out. This is not going to be a good change for them. Like all around, I think they should run back the same roster. I think that'd be their best solution. They haven't made an announcement, so maybe they're trying to see what's working out in the scrims. That's probably what they're doing right now. We're going to see before the season starts, even though LPL's already started, so it's coming soon. Like we're going to see who's going to be the starter soon enough, and then going to be disappointed. That's all I'm going to say because there's not going to be any good changes.
Oof, man. This is why a lot of players were criticizing the level of NA. It's like all these rosters stink.
Oh, Brandini left?
Oh yeah. Brandini.
Yeah.
He's right.
Yeah,
Brandini left.
Brandini was on Evil Geniuses. He was not. That was the guy on TSM, right?
He was on TSM and 100 Thieves Academy teams.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't. I mean, that's not. I mean, I don't know. Is it really that big a deal? Like, he wasn't very good. I mean, he's not better than Kumo. Kumo completely schooled him like the entirety of when they were both in the academy. So, like, that's not really like something I wouldn't pick him up.
This is why people criticize these teams. Like these teams stink. These teams are terrible. Yeah. These teams are horrible. Like who's constructing these teams? These teams are absolute trash.
I mean, I think the bottom two teams and the first place team are pretty much solidified on who it's going to be. I think everything else beyond that is a toss up for me because there's not.
You have Onda. You do have Onda for Evil Genius. No, okay. You have Definitely and Matt.
Okay, so no. I want you to talk to me. Why would you replace Svenskeren, who's not an import, with Onda? Like what?
Because Onda is secretly NA Peanut. You just haven't seen it yet.
Onda is literally had one good game, not even just a split. He had a singular good game at Worlds where people ran into him. And like again, I don't like to say that. I don't like to say run into
because that's true.
No, because it is true. But being in the right place at the right time is a quality that you need from a jungler, and that's why Blabber succeeds so much. He's always in the right place. But at the same time, like it was more so luck than actual like what's it called?
I told people that they're like you're crazy. I was like, well, watch him in the split, and he's gonna suck. Oh, he sucked. It's like I don't know. You have Definitely and Matt. I mean, what do you want to like?
Let's not do either one of those. How about we just see? We'll see who they pick up. Hey, there's not.
All right, get Maston from FlyQuest Academy.
We'll just not talk about that. Yeah, I don't really think Nash would be good for anybody.
You want Lost?
So I would again, not much we can say about Evil Geniuses until the roster finalizes. So that's
okay. Keith switched back to ADC. Is that good enough? He has good mechanics.
What's going on with you? He does not have good mechanics.
He has good mechanics for certain things.
He literally does not have good mechanics. Mechanically, he's poor. His positioning is one of the worst I've seen in a long time. Like he just genuinely doesn't know what he's doing. Nash is the worst ADC. Nash is the single worst ADC I've ever seen in my life.
You know that secret thing we were talking about. Nash did get brought up. That the person was like, he's got a good heart. He's got a good heart.
It's good. That's a good thing. I agree. Like it's a good thing to have a good heart, but you have to have hands that function properly as a human being. Like he doesn't. I don't understand how he doesn't. Like I don't know. I don't know what was wrong with Nash. Like it was a mental thing. It was also the fact that he was completely trash. Like he didn't know what he was doing. It wasn't like what do you think the main problem with Nash was? Like,
he played on some of the worst NA teams ever created.
No, that was not he was the reason they were the worst in the league. Dude.
No,
he was every single team he was on was the worst in the league. And when you had to point out their worst player, who did you point to first? Who was the first person you looked at when you said the worst player on this team is? It was always Mash. It's like literally I feel bad for him. I think he's probably a great guy, but he should not be in like.
Okay, so like if we're talking about Team Coast, then yeah, we're talking about Team Impulse. Yeah,
Team Impulse has way better players than him. Team Impulse actually looked like a solid team. Team Coast was 0-17, and he was still the worst player on that team.
You had Echo Fox.
Echo Fox, no, he was not. Okay, whatever. Regardless, it doesn't matter how bad Mash was. Mash is something. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Something.
Yeah, like I think all around, I think where did we get to? How did we get to MASH?
How did you were just a horrible human being at dictating things, but since I'm the sexy
You're the
host,
one
I'll
that's.
do it.
How did you shift to MASH? How did we get here? Just what were you talking about?
We're talking about EG getting like a player for Bang's spot.
Okay. I don't think there's an ADC to replace him. I haven't seen anybody solid. Like Johnson was the only ADC that I think has been recently coming up that's been good. Stixay was good for a split, and Johnson's the only ADC that I think has looked solid coming out of the academy scene in a long time, ever since Licorice. So I mean, the likelihood we get anybody to replace him with how sporadic it is for us to get good players in the LCS, it's not going to happen. Like you're not going to replace him with anybody good because there's nobody good to replace him with. It's obvious because there's no talent in the NA scene right now.
Just replace Bjergsen with Faker, and they're the exact same team.
No, but like, yeah.
All right. Oh Lord, let's go to. Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, let's go to the LEC. The LEC is substantially better than the LCS. I don't even know if that's not even close to debatable at this point.
I think Cloud9 would probably be second place.
I mean, when you have three teams automatically competing for 10th place, I mean that's 4 teams compete for 10th place. I mean that's they cracked top 6 by 4 teams being that much worse.
Good. So I think the LEC does look substantially better. I do agree with that. I mean, I don't know how much credit I would give to like for the most part. I think Excel again. I still have hope for them. I mean, I know a lot of people aren't too hyped up on them, but I do think they picked up a lot of good players. I think a lot of them played moderately okay.
So this is the question I'd ask.
What?
Is there any way you don't put G2 first place?
No. I mean, I think G2 with how much they swapped up last split and still managed to get first place, I don't think there's a way you could. Like they genuinely didn't even seem like they were trying last split. So I think first place is obviously G2. Second place, I think, is Fnatic. And I think you go from there. I think those are the top. Origin is not somebody I would say is 100% first place because I think Mad Lions could take their spot.
Mad Lions or maybe Misfits could take their spot too.
You know, Misfits actually picked up, what's his name? Kabe. So I think it's actually wouldn't be surprising if they were able to make a dent because their weakest problem was probably Bvoy. Bvoy, whatever I don't know how to say his name. Like,
it's weird though. He played in the LPL and he looked pretty. I mean, I don't think it was bad. I think it looked bad.
I maybe not. But again, they have a lot of solid pieces of this team. We could see. There's some talent in this team to be, like, for them to be able to make something happen. I think they're going to be a top 5 team. I think the top 5 teams are going to be G2, Fnatic, Misfits, Origin, and Mad Lions. Those are probably. I honestly don't know about. Like Rogue has a lot of good potential, but Finn seemed to be one of their better players. Seemed to be out talented by all of the top 5 teams.
Oh, he's young. He's 17 years old. Like,
I mean, it's not about young. He's played for a full season now. Like, if you count last split, like he's been in here for a bit of time now, and it just genuinely seems like he's not catching back up to the top players. Caps and Perps switch roles again. Yeah, they did. It's just back to the original, and I think that
makes him even stronger. I
mean, we saw what Caps was capable of, and I'm glad they switched back.
They were like, we cannot win. That's not going to work, though. I mean, yeah.
Because they just won. That last series, he played pure ADCs, and they still won. Kog'Maw is the only thing he played against Fnatic, pretty much, and they still won the series because he was able to play it, like, which is impressive. Kog'Maw is the most – if you want to teach somebody how to play ADC, it's either Ashe or Kog'Maw, in my opinion. Ashe is a little bit of a handicap, so I'd say Kog'Maw because he requires you to play ADC as an ADC. You can't rely on abilities or anything because you have to position properly. He doesn't have the abilities to compete with people. So I think that's the big thing as to why they tried to play Kog'Maw for him. He probably could. I mean, I was impressed with this Kog'Maw.
Like, them beating Fnatic wasn't really surprising to me because right when I was watching some of those Thorin shows, Grabs was like, people shouldn't be surprised about Fnatic's playstyle. I don't think they're that good. I was like, why would he say that if people think they're that good? And I was like, So I started to think maybe Fnatic really isn't that strong, though. Maybe we're just looking at it from the lens of just a casual fan because I'm just that bad at the game. So I wasn't even surprised when they lost in that fashion. I was like, wait a minute. If he's already saying behind the scrims are not that good, What
I'm
we're
gonna point out-
seeing, I'm just
wanna
saying,
point
what
out-
we're seeing just might not be the real them.
When we did the little power rankings before the season before the finals started into the semis, you said Fnatic was going to win 3-2. I want to point this out.
I did not.
You did.
I
And
said if Fnatic.
I said if they was going to win 3-0.
I said if they win, I'm not surprised because they were playing good. But then in my predictions that I made in my solo video, I said
You did a
G2
solo
wins.
video, but in our video, which I could pull up right now if you want.
Maybe. Oh my! I don't.
Fnatic is
Receipts.
gonna win.
He's got the receipt on me. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. This is what I'll show to you guys right now. You guys will see this right now.
I don't think anybody wants to see you talk. Come on. What are you thinking?
So this is. What does this show you right here? What is this right here?
That is.
This says. It says I am part of the G2 army and nothing will ever stop me. That's what it says. It took them almost a month and a half to ship this thing. Holy crap! Because of the coronavirus. This is like one of the best jerseys I've ever received from them. Oh my god, this looks so beautiful. Look at that. That's beautiful. But just saying though, Cloud9 would never lose to these scrubs. G2 is trash.
So
I'm just kidding.
All around, I think the big thing I have a problem with, I think that
He's like, I got receipts.
I don't care about you anymore. The big thing I have a problem with Rogue, because that was the team I was on. It's like, even though I think they have one of the best rosters purely on roster out of all the teams, their roster looks pretty solid. The problem isn't their roster, because they have really good players. I mean they try to, like, their early game aggression is stifled by the fact that they put Hansama on this team, which is pretty much forcing them to centralize most of their focus around that player. Like Larson and Finn, even Inspired, they're all great players. Finn is just not capable. One of their better players isn't capable of competing with like Whippo, Wonder, like even
Cableshard.
He's probably I think top lane. He's a good top player. In NA, I think he'd be top 3. But this is in EU. He's just generally not up there. He's not better than Alfari. He's not better than Whippo, Wonder, like pretty much all of them. Like all of the top teams have better top laners than him. So it's hard for me to say what, like, it's like Rogue has a lot of young potential. Maybe they come together now, but I don't think this is their year. I think it's later on down the line, and that's why I don't think they're going to make Worlds this year, even with the 4 teams going in. I think it's going to be Origin, Fnatic, G2, and
I think G2 win Worlds this year.
I would say G2, Fnatic, Mad Lions, and maybe Misfits now. I think with the change in Kabe, I think they could definitely have a shot.
I don't know. Misfits are kind of weird. I don't know. I think Origin by far just still has, like, Origin still has great players in their own right too. The only weak player Origin has is Destiny.
So the way it works is Nukeduck is one of the best early game players in the world, actually. And when it comes to post laning phase, he just transitions into an average mid laner. And that's the problem with him. He can't team fight well. His 1-3-1 abilities just aren't great, because I'm assuming that there's not a good shot caller or something on there. I don't know. So it's hard for me to say what the actual problem with Origin is, but again, they're stifled by a poor late game, and all of their aggression comes from the early game, and they're not going to beat. I don't think they're going to beat G2 in the early game. I don't think they're going to beat Fnatic anymore in the early game. I think Fnatic's put it together too well. I think they definitely have a chance against the other 2 teams. So it's possible for them to make it to Worlds, but I think if they get figured out toward the later half of the split, I don't know what the big. I couldn't specifically say what I think should be attacked by the enemy teams, but if they do get figured out by their lack of a mid to late game, which is something they definitely no, their mid game's fine. Their late game, if they get attacked on that point, I don't think they're going to be able to make it to Worlds. Like genuinely, where do they really shine at in comparison to the rest of the teams?
For who? Origin?
They have better laners, and I think that's the big just against Mad Lions and Misfits. I think it's laning wise is where they win. But again, their bot lane, their early game is pushed through Nukeduck and Xerxes, and their late game is again Upset and Alfari's ability to team fight. And it's like all of them don't shine at the same like positions or like the time frames. All of their best positions are at different points in time, and that's why you'll never have a solidified amazing team at any point in time, because, like, again, Nukeduck's best point is in the early game, and like it's just I don't think there's
a lot of problems with Origin that I can throw to people right now who are watching, who are Origin fans. So Origin like to play through Nukeduck, who doesn't imagine giving someone something and they never do anything with it. That's what they do with him. They give him all the counter picks, all the resources, and he really doesn't do anything with them.
He wins late usually.
Maybe. Sometimes he doesn't. And then now they're screwed.
That's actually true. Schalke, I actually think, looked really good towards the later half of the split. I think they're still going to be bottom 3, but like they're going to be a good bottom 3. Like they're going to be better than Vitality by far, and they're going to be better than what's that other team? SK.
SK Gaming. Oh lord, that they have a roll swap mid to top laner. Oh lord, it's I don't even like. SK Gaming. Oh lord. God damn, that was just a self-made farming team. Oh, that was.
It was. I mean, they relied too much on the sporadic pop-offs of Crown Shot, and that was the defining point of this team. Like, self-made was gonna pop off pretty much 90% of games, but if Crown Shot was not alongside with him playing well, they never won. Like that was they needed that secondary carry, and Crown Shot was too inconsistent. Now all they have is Crown Shot. And Crown Shot is inconsistent, and even when he's on, they don't have any other players to follow him up.
Okay, so now they have Jez as their head coach, Jinax goes to top lane, and Unlimited leaves the head coach position, and then you have that's pretty much it. Most of the roster is the same, except you just have Jinax going to top, and they have a new mid laner now, which is I think Zazie. Yeah, Zazzy's from their freaking academy. Oh, so he's from EU Masters, somewhere in there. But like they generally stink. This is just a trash everything. They're like, oof, bad.
Sure who's going to be the last place? You think
them?
Vitality.
I think Vitality's gonna be better because Vitality were plagued with like what are those international things called? The thing that Brox had a problem with before he came over, visas. Like Vitality is going to look better because their issues are solved because they have the players they actually want. SK Gaming had the players they want last split and still sucked.
I don't think they wanted them. They just had the players.
Like, that's why I say Trick might have been a little bit overrated because Trick, ever since he left G2, kind of stinks.
Well, he sucked towards the later half of G2, to be fair.
I'm just saying, though.
It wasn't overrated. He genuinely started sucking towards the later half of his career.
It's just like, I don't know why teams invest into Trick. Like, Schalke did it. They did well a little bit, and they stunk. But then they failed later on, though. They looked bad later on. I don't know what is up with them. It's like, so you have G2 Fnatic, and then you're saying it's not exactly Origin third place like it usually is. It's usually Origin third.
I don't care if it's usually. Origin has not looked very solid in comparison of the upgrades. Like, they did look solid, but the upgrades that Misfits made, they didn't really match that. I think that they stagnated, or so as Misfits made a drastic upgrade. And Mad Lions genuinely looked incredible, and I think they're only going to go up because all of their players are young.
Mad Lions has a higher ceiling, but like Origin has the veteran players that could, I don't know. Like Alphari is still really good, but Origin need a different way of drafting because all they draft is for Nukeduck and Upset. Ryan says, "What are your thoughts on Schalke?" I think Schalke
about that because that was my
Schalke. Oh my lord! I'm sorry, Ryan. Schalke, in my own personal opinion, I think still stink.
Yeah, that's why we brought Schalke up. Remember?
I mean, like, there's like 4 teams in EU competing for who's not going to get 10th.
I think Schalke is going to be the best of the worst. I think that's going to be their situation because I do.
Is that even good? Like, is that even good?
It's not good, but I mean, it's still an upgrade.
Like
what they were, like they were literally the worst when they had Forgiven.
Oh, Forgiven's a clown. Oh Lord.
I ain't got to join in on that stuff.
Oh my lord! All right, so you have XL Esports. Okay, their issue is everything. God, I'm not trying to be mean to EU, but like, literally, there's like 4 teams competing for 10th. So like,
XL actually might like XL has good points. Is the problem? They literally Patrick is a solid ADC. Gabriel is a good jungler. Like
they're getting a new mid. They got what's his name? They got Yerzy, is that his name? Yerzy, he played on, they have a new mid and top laner, so they could do a lot better now. That's the thing.
It's a possibility. Their weak points were addressed at the very least in terms of just replacing them. We'll see if they were actually good upgrades, though. That's going to be the big definition of whether or not this team succeeds. And I don't know enough about the two players that they put in for me to say whether or not it's going to be enough, because I just genuinely haven't seen enough of them. So, I mean, all around, I think this team is they could literally, like, if their choices were like definitive upgrades, they could shoot up to like 6th place.
They just want to make playoffs, though. They how they're make playoffs? When you have Schalke and SK Gaming and freaking Vitality, you're almost guaranteed to get in playoffs this time around.
Schalke is probably the best. I think they're a tier above the bad players, but they're not in the middle of the pack yet.
Who else have we not dissected yet? No, it's pretty much everyone.
I mean, you don't really have to dissect.
We haven't really dissected Fnatic yet, I guess.
I mean, we could. Again, it's obvious what they're playing.
This man hates Reckless, so I'm not even gonna go over that. I mean, despises Reckless. He's like,
I don't think he's bad. I don't know why everybody acts like. I don't know why you're acting like I think he's terrible. I think he's probably one of the more overrated players, because again, I think a lot of his success came off the fact of the teams that he was being a part of, like 2015 Fnatic. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I have to point out 2018 Fnatic. I'm 2017 Fnatic against what's it called when he was in the group with what is that NA team?
Oh, 100 Thieves, not 100 Thieves. When he was the IMT.
Yeah, 2018 when he went against the IMT, I think he was genuinely really impressive in my opinion. I think he's had some solid international play. I don't think he's not capable of competing internationally.
I think he is, because like he's found success internationally though. Like
success doesn't amount to you being good. Remember that. That's not something I would say.
I know, but like if he isn't able to compete, I don't think, like, why is he still on Fnatic after all these years though?
He is on Fnatic because, again, first of all, he's still a pretty solid ADC. I don't think everybody in EU can compete internationally. It's not pretend bad. Like, I think EU as a whole is not the greatest region. I think that G2 is. G2 is
G2 is EU though.
That is EU success. Fnatic is not EU success right now.
They used to be. They used to be there.
Back in like season 1.
It was literally 2 years ago. They were EU success.
I don't care about that read. That year did not.
It was literally. This man is deflecting, guys.
I did not like 2018 was such a drastic change in the meta that no one was prepared for it, and they were able to take advantage of that. That was not a good team. That was one of the worst teams we've had in the finals, and I don't think anybody disagrees with that. Like, what is the worst team we've had in the finals since like season 5?
Oh, I don't want to go over that. That's just too much. That's too much to go over.
It takes like 3 seconds. You don't have to go over the teams. Just like to get the teams.
No, because like actually dissecting it takes another. I mean, you could say they're the worst by comparison of the back then.
Season 5? Season 5 is not back then. That's season 5. That's season 5 Fnatic. Season 5 SKT.
I mean, I think you're living in the past of season 5 Fnatic. I mean, I'm not going to
understand the game enough.
I'm just saying they played through top lane. They admitted they played through top lane, and when he stunk, they stunk. It's literally shown how they got destroyed by Tigers. If they don't have Huni doing well, they're going to lose.
Okay, so what do you think Fnatic could take an advantage of that? Yes or no?
Now?
That season 8 Fnatic.
No, I just think like they just didn't have Huni. They just are not going to look that good. That's just.
It doesn't matter. You take a superstar of any team, season 3 SKT. You take.
I mean, yeah, they have Febivin. You have Febivin from that year who was really good. So I mean, maybe.
I mean, they have good players. I mean, I think you trying to pretend that taking off a superstar makes a team bad, that means they're bad, is just not correct. There's a lot of teams that are defined by one superstar and they succeed. Like Daft off Dragon X, they wouldn't have made playoffs without him being on that team. Yet without that team, they're competing for first and third. Like there's just too many teams in the world that succeed still internationally with one good player. Like it's hard to say that.
But like this is the thing I want to throw at Fnatic is Fnatic going to go through the Cloud9 treatment where they're just perennially second for a while until they win another split because there's just superstars on another team that just beats them.
G2 has 5 superstars on one team and they will always be second place because that's not realistic for any team on the planet to get to. Like no other team is going to get to that level until G2 comes off their high of all these players being in their prime. Like they're all in their prime right now. They're all one of the best of their position. It's just reality of what it is. No one's going to take their spot.
So is that a knock on Nemesis though? Because he's part of a Fnatic iteration where it's just not.
Nemesis is great. I just think that like It's if everybody was the same caliber of Nemesis on Fnatic, I think they would probably be able to compete with, G2 easily. Like, I don't think they would win still because, like, Perks is better than Fnatic. I mean, then you know what, Perks and
Perks
like,
did pretty
Caps
well
is
last
probably-
split against
it's hard
Nemesis
for
when
me
they
to
played.
say. Maybe not better than Nemesis, but Caps is definitely better than Nemesis. Like,
That's the
Wonder,
thing, though.
like,
I don't
it's
see a
all-
world in which where Fnatic isn't like perennially second for a very long time.
well, until this team implodes. That's the only way.
Who's a world where G2 buys more superstars than other split, and then they're like, okay, now we're the best again.
Yeah, that's not something.
Because here's the thing, though. G2 is known for winning, so all the best players are going to want to go to G2 to win. That's just
G2 is known for winning, yes, because they always have the best players. It's just what it is. You always have
and
the
then
best players.
after this is over, they have Perks. Perks is going to want to go get the best players, so they're going to have the best players again. If we're going by that logic, they would have the best players after this is over.
Who knows? I mean, who says Perks is still going to be good?
Perks is still pretty good.
Yeah, now he's still pretty solid. I mean, he's not as good as he was in his past.
I'm not gonna go on your little boomer thing. Oh, back in the day, he was
better
so
back in the day. He was.
Yeah, he was.
Better.
Yeah, but
like, I still think he's good.
I think he's smarter now. I think once you become a smarter player, your mechanics kind of like go down a little bit. I mean,
I don't know about that. That's
I mean,
a good extreme.
Look at someone like I was gonna say Piglet. I was gonna say who was that player that looked that bad when he got smarter but got worse? Mithy mechanics are great when he got smarter at the game. That's just maybe Yellow Star. I don't know.
Mithy just was. I
don't know. It just seems like Fnatic will be perennially second place until G2 decides to.
G2 decides to. They just tired of winning and they decide to get rid of it.
I like winners though. I like when people decide, hey, I want to win it and do something. I mean, legacy dictates.
I didn't enjoy watching the late 2000s Golden State Warriors. I did not enjoy.
They built that team through drafting, though. Like over the course of many years, though.
That was the reason they were so good, though.
They got Klay Thompson through drafting.
I don't disagree.
Iguodala through drafting.
But they did not get Iguodala through draft.
No. They at one point they did. They used their draft pick smart to get us a super team.
I disagree with what you're saying. They did draft a lot of good players, but at the same time, the reason they were so good is the reason they become unstoppable. Like people were able to compete with 2016 Warriors, and they actually lost the finals because even though they had a lot of good players through drafting phase, it was all from coaching that they got good. And then they just threw Kevin Durant on there. It was impossible to beat them anymore.
All right, question.
What?
What is LeBron's record in the finals?
Why would I know that off the top of my head?
He's 3-6. Does that mean LeBron James is a bad player?
No one thinks that. He's been on some of the worst teams of all time.
I know, but there's a chance that Fnatic could overtake G2 if they have a bad day.
I don't just. That's always possible.
The Cavaliers were a worse team than that Warriors team, and they won.
They had the best player in the world on their team.
G2 has 5. So Reckless could have a good series one day, and they could win against G2.
Fnatic. I mean, if you're talking about the Warriors had 2 good players in that team there was only one superstar on that team. The rest of them were pretty solid players. LeBron was better than every one of them. Like it all came down to, on top of the fact Kyrie was better than every one of them in that series.
Yeah, Kyrie Irving. You had Kevin Love, right?
It's not like they had a worse team substantially.
They just did though.
No, they didn't. They had 2 to 3 players that were better than most of the players on their team. They just had more players on that team. It's not the same to compare. Like the reality is, like I don't dislike G2 did the right thing. If I was in their place, I would recruit all these players too. I'm saying I don't enjoy watching it because when you get to the point where it's impossible for the rest of the teams to compete, it's not interesting to watch.
That's not G2's fault though.
It's no one said G2. Why do you keep saying this?
No. I'm saying
no one.
There's a way. There's a way for it to work with other players though. It's all about coaching. That's all it comes down to. We've seen some horrible teams in the NBA make it very far. Pelicans made it last year. Pelicans are trash.
Pelicans had one of the top 5 player in the league and a top 20 player in the league. Come on.
What's the team James Harden's always on? What's the team James Harden's always on?
The Rockets.
The Rockets. Yeah, James Harden is usually only the good thing about the Rockets. Usually,
they have 2 really good players and then 1 solid player. They always have 3 good players on that team. I'm going to point out. I think G2 did the right thing. If I was in their position, I would pick these players too. I don't think it's interesting to watch. I don't think it's interesting to watch when somebody is substantially above the rest of the league because they have the best player. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it in terms of just competing internationally and all that stuff. It's good for you. I mean, the reason EU has 4 slots is because G2 exists, and that's just the reality of it. Like G2 exists because they have a top 2 player in every position, top 1 position. Top 1. 90% of those team players are the best in their position.
Good lord, it's gonna feel real bad when they're all gone and disbanded, because this was like one of the best Western teams we ever seen. It's all
It is the single best we've seen.
But I know, but like if they don't win Worlds this year, they're not gonna play together. I know they're not. It's just like they're gonna try and disband. But I think
that would be stupid. They're not gonna,
unless they just gave up. Well, if you want to retire, I mean, unless they just generally want to retire, there's no reason to disband.
I'm gonna say until they lose Jankos, this team is gonna be solid.
Like, let's say they replace Jankos with eventually, if Jankos wants to retire, let's say they replace him with Selfmade. Are they still not the best team?
I think Jankos, it's not about mechanics or anything. And it's not about early game aggression. It's about Jankos. Jankos is the best jungler in the league. I think he's been the best jungler in the league for about 3 seasons so far, even though he doesn't play consistently.
And a great individual player, too. He's one of the best players and one of the best junglers.
He's the only one that, like, again, I want to see more from Selfmade before I say he can compete internationally. I think he's a really solid player, and I do think he has potential to be the best jungler in the league. But right now, Jankos is the single best player on this team. He's not like, it's not like he's the best player. He's the most impactful, because the jungle defines the game so much right now with the meta. Like, they can't replace, if they replace Jankos, they don't succeed. They can replace anybody else and still do moderately okay, but they can't replace Jankos right now.
It's hard to say, though. I just can't make an argument that Fnatic could ever overtake them unless Fnatic face them in a best of 5 and they have a really, really good best of 5 where all their players are peaking at their best performance and they outperform all of G2.
I'm going to say I really hope that G2 gets overtaken. It would be interesting to watch if there was somebody comparable to them, but right now
G2 is the king. They'll never be overtaken. G2 is better than Jin sir.
What are you doing?
I'm just kidding. G2's... I don't know, man. Someone asked me, do I think G2 has a chance of winning Worlds? I mean, it's very hard to replicate how strong a person is from 1 year to 1 year. It's very hard to say that.
How would they compete against one of the Chinese teams?
I mean, they never have, though.
They have. They literally got... What? Who do you think they lost to in 2018? Are you talking... Oh, that was with Yarn. Is that what you're saying? This specific team? I mean, they still lost. Who did they lose to last year?
Hold on, give me 1 sec. Freaking landlord, it's not manager. My manager lady texted me. I said I have the rent. She didn't come today. How's that my fault? Good lord. I don't know. I don't know. It's like, but they've never beaten IG. Like, they can't beat IG. It's very hard for them to beat other Chinese teams, though. I mean, if they're struggling, it's IG. And IG, that was 2019 IG. Well, it wasn't 2018 IG. They lost in 2018 IG, too. It's like, they can somehow beat Korea, but can't beat China. That's really weird.
The reason Korea is still trying to adapt to this meta, because this meta doesn't really make too much sense like macro wise, and they're still not wrapping their head around that. They're still trying to play macro oriented, like controlled pace, and it's never going to happen. It's not going to happen because Riot does not want that to happen. Riot does not want a slow paced macro centric meta to happen anymore. It's not fun for the viewers to watch, apparently. Which I don't agree with, but maybe not the majority of people. Like, so all around, like, until Korea wraps their head around that, it doesn't matter how good their players are, they're never going to succeed. I think they could do pretty well this split, because they did seem like they took a step in the right direction, though. But that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I think that, like, G2 is going to be the competing international EU team we're going to have this split. I think that NA might have Cloud9 compete pretty well. And that's pretty much all I can say. Like, there's not much else. Like, EU as a whole is better, but but Cloud9 is very much comparable to most of the EU teams, in my opinion. Like, it's not how good are they going to be, because they really don't have competition here. We'll see when it comes to the international stage.
Yeah, but I got to get to bed soon. What did we miss talking about? Oh, yeah, Uzi. Uzi retired. That's pretty much all the league news.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's definitely the saddest thing on the planet. I was wondering why that he was still playing. Usually he comes in towards the playoffs, but I guess the injuries were a little bit too severe this time.
Yeah. Oof. I don't know. I don't know. It's just, I mean, eventually it had to happen at some point. Eventually, Faker's gonna retire too. That's gonna be a sad day, because then T1's gonna look completely different.
Yeah, I mean, they got one of the best. Apparently, one of the most hyped up prospects is in the mid lane for them right now, in like their academy roster, whatever it's called down there. So that's pretty exciting. We'll see what happens. It doesn't look like they have. I mean, they definitely have potential in EU. I mean, Korea to be able to replace them eventually. So it's not bad, but at the same time, they're never going to get somebody that good.
Yeah. Whew. That's it, guys. Want to say thank you all for watching. I'll probably just leave this up. I usually don't like pause the live streams and then upload these at least on here. Maybe in the future. I don't know yet. But thank you all for showing up. That's pretty much it. The LCS and LEC start this week. I'll have my power rankings out very, very soon. And then, yeah. I mean, will we be doing them together? Or you want to do them separate? I don't know.
I didn't care. It's up to you, man.
I mean, I know G2 and Cloud9 are gonna win the split, so it's like, okay. I mean, what else is there? Like, NA's teams just look so bad. It's like, who is constructing these rosters? These rosters stink, man. Holy crap. Ugh, rosters are horrible. But it's okay. LEC is not much better. Half the teams are competing for 10th place, so, well, between 6th and 10th, they're like all a cluster mess. But yeah, see you guys later. Have a good day. And I am going to bed. I have to work early tomorrow.
All right.